But I think the development of full artificial intelligence would spell the end of the human race.
It's a flying object, and we don't know what it is. I would hope somebody is checking it out.
With the rocket or whatever, but incredibly fast, opposite direction. They were too fast to be an airplane.
I'm glad the Pentagon is looking at this, because if it poses a threat, I want them on top of it.
Well, the craft generates its own gravitational field.
So you said there's lights in the sky?
The internet has become the command center for criminals and terrorists.
911, what's your emergency? I need help, please help me!
Aliens won't let it happen. You know, that's what we're instructed to say.
Roswell, Area 51. Alien kept deep under the ground.
1 0 1 1 1 0 1 1 6 3 2 9 7.
Media doesn't have your best interest in mind. The government is self-serving. You're here for a reason. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. Broadcasting live from a secret bunker just off the extraterrestrial highway. Somewhere in the desert sands outside of Las Vegas. From somewhere in space-time, loosely labeled Generation X on planet Earth. And asking questions of you in earnest into the digital darkness. Good evening and welcome to Troubled Minds Radio. I'm your host, Michael Strange. I am here with your co-host, Frank Pierce. And we would like to say hello to all of you who might also have troubled minds. What's up, guys? The show is live. We are ringing in the witching hour is what I meant to say on the East Coast. Happy witching hour. It is a Thursday night, bumping over into Friday. Happy Friday for those of you that are so fortunate to time travel and be a few hours ahead of the rest of us. Otherwise, you guys know what we're doing. We're talking about all the things we're not supposed to talk about. That's what we do tonight. So, with that in mind, it is live. If you want to be part of the show tonight, the number to call is 702-957-1037. You can go to troubledminds.org. That's the official website. And find the phone number and the Discord link and all the rest of the things. And come say hi. Come give us a call. And the phone lines are up and everything's working as far as I'm aware. So if you one of you guys could call early-ish and let us know if the phone works, that would be amazing. So we appreciate that. But otherwise, last show we left off with a couple things. A couple unanswered things, or let's say topics we didn't really get to. So we're going to touch on some of that tonight and kind of, free range type of topic. So that's what we're doing. And yeah, so we'll do shout outs shortly. And here we are. Here we are doing it again. All right. So before we get to shout outs on the rest of these amazing topics and et cetera, so on, you guys know what's up. You guys know what's happening. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, your co-host, Frank Pierce. Where is it? There it is.
Hello, my name is Frank Pierce. We're back again for hopefully another exciting show. Plenty to talk about, plenty of new information, plenty of news updates, old information. But as always, if you have stuff to talk about, especially on these days, on these Thursdays, send in your links, send in your UFO videos, your crazy witches out in the woods, large alligators, I don't know, anacondas, anything. We'll talk about anything because the world is a wide and amazing place, and there's plenty out there to look at. Yeah, we got a whole smorgasbord of topics today, so we'll get right into it. Yeah, let's just do it. So much to talk about.
All right, always so much to talk about. It is funny, right? You scan the news and you're like, "Holy crap! Look at that one! Look at that one! Look at that one!" There's just so many amazing things. So just keep them coming. As long as the mainstream doesn't report this crap, well, we're gonna keep talking about it because hey, we'll do your job for you, you mainstream pieces of trash. All right, shout outs. What's up? Carl gets first. Thanks for showing up, Carl. We got Benjamin. We got Philip. Let's see. Yeah, Benjamin from Mars, of course. Todd. What's happening, buddy? Steven. Paul. Let's see. Paul from Texas. Chris. Philip. Kelly. Todd again. Kimberly. What's happening? And Joe says he better get off Pornhub now. Sorry to call you out, Joe. You said it, man. You said it. Who else? We got Justin. Diane. What's happening? Who else? Scrolling on down. Steven. New. What's happening? And Mike. Are extraterrestrial life forms managing this page from outer space? You're damn right, sir. You're damn right. We actually aren't allowed to say anything until the aliens beam it into our brain, and then they tell us we can say it. So figure that one out. Just kidding, of course. What's up, Dale? Thanks for showing up. And yeah, there we go. All right, there's shout outs. So somebody asked if it's cool if they do watch parties with our shows. No, man. We encourage that. We appreciate that. And if you want to share the love, please do. Get into those groups on Facebook. And there's, believe it or not, a lot of people still haven't heard of us. So if you can help with that, we'd appreciate it. So no, yeah, please feel free, share this stuff around. Let people know that they can come call and be part of the show and, join in the discussion. Because, we hope that this is why this is a unique thing. We're not hiding behind paywalls and we're not hiding behind censorship, and we're completely open. If you want to call us and tell us we're full of shit, we've said this 1,000 times. We'll say it 1,000 more. We're here for you. So there we go. All right. I think I got all the shout outs. Man, I sound hot tonight. I sound loud. Do I sound loud, Frank, or is it just me? Turn me down or something?
There's something strange going on, but let's just keep going.
Okay, forget it. Something strange.
Okay.
Something strange.
Everything's strange nowadays, isn't it? Like there's so much.
Yes, it is.
Live. Let's keep going.
Okay. All right. So where would you like to start, sir?
I think we should talk about the flat Earth. What do you say?
Yes, I think we should. All right. So remember, guys, before you facepalm and go running for the outdoors right now, stick with us for a second. We're not trying to convince you the Earth is flat. All right. Let's do this, Frank.
Yeah, and that's a good point. There's so much crazy stuff out there. We got to talk about it. The flat Earth is part of it. Let's open up this one here from the Flat Earth Society wiki. Yes, they have a wiki page where they document all their quote-unquote findings. The ice wall. Do you see this one? The ice wall. So this is what surrounds the planet in their delusional minds. So you can see my bias already. So the Flat Earth Society essentially believes that there is an ice wall surrounding the entire Earth on the outside edges. So you have to imagine this as a big circle, right? We think of the globe as a sphere. They think of it as a circle. Now, the ice wall is a natural formation, a thick mass of floating ice that is attached to land, and it surrounds the entire planet, right? So think Game of Thrones almost. It's a little bit convenient that they're kind of talking about the ice wall and Game of Thrones just came out, but essentially that's what they believe is you can't cover this thing. You can't go across it. Antarctica, it's not a continent. It's not a landmass. It's actually an ice wall that surrounds the entire planet. Do you believe this so far? What do you think about this? Have you heard this?
I haven't heard this. So I didn't realize there was a crossover with Game of Thrones and the actual wall. So that's pretty cool. If we get a Tyrion Lannister cameo, I'd be very appreciative. I'm a fan. But yeah, I don't know. I didn't know this was a thing. I didn't even know that they had their own wiki, and I guess deservedly so. I guess it's not the way to put it. Yeah. Good so far. I'm with you so far, Frank. Check.
Okay, so the entire coast is an ice wall, right? So there's this big ice wall. There's actually a series of 1,000-long ice walls, so thousands of miles long, divided by the Trans-Arctic mountain ranges. And these things go up to 10K feet, and essentially we can't get over them. There's patrols that go around them, boats with like LED lights on them and stuff, but we won't get into that. But essentially, this is the dividing line, right? If you could go to Antarctica and see that it was a continent, like you can circumnavigate the entire thing in no time at all, well, then you prove the Earth is round. But if you see that there's an actually ice wall there and you have to sail along the perimeter all the way, like the longest distance on this circular object, then you prove the Earth is flat, right? So this is the dividing line, is if this ice wall exists and how long it is. Because if it's, you know, the circumference of Antarctica, according to the spherical Earth theory, well, the Earth is a sphere. But if it's a huge range, you know, you got to circumnavigate the entire globe to get around this thing, well, then that proves that the Earth is flat, right? So here's the idea. This ice wall is the key critical thing. If they can prove it's there, good. If they can't, good. So this is what we're looking at tonight. This is what we're talking about, because someone is planning an expedition to go to this thing. So let's open up that. Flat Earthers are planning an Antarctic expedition to the edge of the Earth. iflscience.com.
Okay. Remember, we talked about this, guys. If anybody wants to actually go and do this, we're open to this eventually. So we should probably start the planning, because it'll probably take quite a bit of planning. But yeah. All right. Anyway, this is a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek. We're kind of exploring why they believe these things and some of the resources and some of the reasons, and et cetera, so on. All right. So as we go, here we go. Let's bump over to that article. This is, just like Frank said, ifscience.com and IFL Science, I guess. And Flat Earthers are planning an Antarctic expedition to the edge of the world. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, again, we talked about this on the show several times, but the thing is, with all these topics, all these, you know, alien abductions or witches or Bigfoot or whatever it is, there's such a lack of proof out there. There's no people actually doing, well, there are in some cases, but there's no people doing real investigations. It's all people talking online, people talking on Twitter, people talking on shows like this, and just speculating, endlessly speculating about this or about that. They're not putting the evidence together. They're not documenting their sightings. They're not, you know, recording different factors of UFO videos, for example. They're just talking, endless speculation. So whenever something like this comes out, a real expedition, a real chance to get new information, it's got to be a good thing. So even this crazy flat Earth nonsense, there I said it, even this, they're planning an expedition. They're trying to get real information. And so you can't say that's a bad thing. Like, if these guys go down there and they discover something, or they don't, at least they've proved it, you know, at least they've looked into it. Whereas what are we doing? We're just speculating, we're talking, we're not coming up with new evidence, we're not coming up with new answers, we're just endlessly speculating about nonsense. And that's a big problem. And all these conspiracy topics, that's a huge problem. So these guys, they're setting sail. They got their fleece-lined tinfoil hats at the ready, and they're hopping on a ship and they're going down there. So they're going to go down to the coast of Antarctica and sail all the way around it. And if they can get to the distance that the spherical Earth theory says, well, the Earth is a sphere, as we talked about before. So what do you think about this? What do you think about actually trying to prove some of these crazy theories? Because this isn't about the flat Earth. This is about trying to prove a crazy theory.
No, yeah. So I think, like you said, this is pretty interesting because they are trying to go prove this, right? Like we say so much, how come people take pictures of this or do that and they see this or see that, and they could easily take additional steps to go ask more questions, get more data, more photographs from different angles and these types of things, and they don't, right? And, you know, at least, just like Frank said, and to their credit, you know, God bless them, they're going to go and actually find the edge of the world. So, I mean, I think that's pretty cool. I mean, it would probably be a hell of a trip one way or the other, right? So even if there is no end of the world and it is actually, you know, round, I mean, well, God forbid, round, you know, I mean, they get to see Antarctica, right? So I think it's pretty cool, interesting, and maybe this is just a huge psyop to get an excuse to go to Antarctica. Maybe that's it, right? Maybe it's like they can't really muster a good reason, so this becomes the reason. Who knows? I don't know. I have no idea. I don't buy this. We don't buy this, by the way, just so you know. But imagine this. Check this out, though, right? So put yourself in a different world, in a different time, in a different place, and think, what if they come back and they've got proof? They come back with photographs of the edge of the world, right? Oh, boy. Oh boy, I don't want to live in that place. But okay, all right. Yeah, so far so good. And yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? Hold on, let me pull up the phones. Maybe we have a call and I don't know it. All right, phones are up. So if you guys want to tell us about Flat Earth, again, we're talking about some of the expedition stuff, why they believe these things, some of the experiments they've done, so on and so forth, and some of the resources, the ice wall. So they have their own Wikipedia, their own flat Earth wiki. But if you want to give us a call, 702-957-1037, tell us what you think about Flat Earth. Yeah, we probably know what you think about Flat Earth, but maybe you'll surprise us. If you want the phone number, go to troubleminds.org, and you can join the Discord there as well. Get on here and tell us what you think. Let's look for some comments here. Benjamin there is special kind of stupid. Flat Earth. Okay, all right. What's up, Chris? Thanks for showing up. Greg says, honestly, I hope they find the edge and fall off as we all stand and watch in disbelief. Kimberly stated earlier that the Flat Earth Society is a psyop to make real Flat Earthers look fake or to discredit them or something. I don't know. Yeah, and Greg wants to know, what's their plan when they find the edge? Take a picture and go home? Are they jumping? Wants to know who's paying for this. I don't know. That's a good question. That's a good one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, Frank. What do you think? What would you do if you got there and the Earth was flat? Would you jump or would you just take some pictures? Testing. 1, 2. Frank Pierce. Earth to Frank. They got him, guys. They got him. Oh, geez. All right, so maybe he disconnected. I have no idea. Frank Pierce, can you hear me, buddy? Frank Pierce. Okay, maybe not. All right, so, yeah, all right. We're going to keep on going. Let's see. Let's see if there's anything interesting in this article here before we move on. Fleece line tinfoil hats at the ready. And so they're releasing the documentary, The Flat Earth to the Edge and Back. And controversial YouTuber Logan Paul has also expressed interest, claiming. Now, this is Logan Paul, guys. If you guys know who he is. Oh, I'm sorry. Quote from Logan Paul. If I'm going to put my name out there as a Flat Earth supporter, I want to know the facts. Interesting. All right. So there's that. All right. Frank Pierce. Earth to Frank. What's up, Roman? Dan Marino's bonsai tree has diplomatic immunity. That's pretty funny. Yeah, no. I'll read some more comments as we wait for Frank to maybe show up or maybe not. And let's see. Okay, Timothy says, the Twilight Zone, home of the zeitgeist. Yeah, okay, I could buy that. Chris says, what's with the top fans thing I see now? Yeah, I don't know. If somebody can explain that to me, please give us a call. We'd like to test the phones again to see if Frank can hear us. Frank, can you hear us? And, yeah, etc. so on. So if somebody can explain the top fan thing to me, then I want to know. It just popped up all of a sudden, and I was a little surprised as well. Kimberly says, I don't see the point, and it's a stupid reason to argue, and it's lame how people argue and insult each other over their belief of what the Earth is shaped like. Yeah, you know what? I think that's a good point, right? With if you don't believe it, don't look into it, don't engage in it, and don't good Lord, please don't get in Twitter arguments with people because it never ends, and right, it ends up a news article, and then people lose their jobs for things they said, and this is a crazy world these days. So don't do that. Don't do that stuff, please. Chris says he's sliding down the flat part. Frank, obviously. Yeah, Dale says Frank went for a beer. Maybe. And Roman says, I'd rather talk about Bigfoot, Sasquatch. Perfect, man. You're in luck because we might do that. We might get to that point. Benjamin says Frank sliding from a flat tilt to the Earth. Frank Pierce. Earth to Frank Pierce. Okay.
I'm here.
You all right, buddy? Everything okay?
I don't know. There's something about this show, isn't there? Whenever we start, our internets will work fine all day long. Everything's good. Lightning fast reaction speeds. Then we start, and then something goes wrong every time. And you've had it happen. I've had it happen. I think they're onto us. I think something's happening.
It sure seems like it, doesn't it? Yeah. So, read some comments, and people are not appreciative of the flat earthers. So, so far, but people were appreciative in the chat that you went to get a beer. So, cheers, buddy. Welcome back. Cheers. I mean, cheers. Yeah. So I read some of the article a little bit here. Logan Paul's involved, and yeah, let's whatever. Logan Paul. You know who he is, right, Frank?
No, I think I do. He's like a movie actor or something like that.
No, he's that stupid YouTube kid, like the young blonde kid, a young man. Pardon my my French, that does all kinds of stupid stuff and has 10 million subs or something like that. Anyway, whatever. He's not important.
Don't pay attention to that nonsense.
Okay.
Anyway, the point of that is that the whole point of that story is that they're doing an expedition. That's a good thing, I think. Now, because people aren't appreciative, and I'm not appreciative either, why don't we play this video here? Flat Earth documentary. And, something interesting happens here. So this is The Plain Truth from YouTube. Pull it up. We'll see what happens. They're trying to do some experiments, trying to do some tests about the flat Earth, and they discover something very interesting.
Okay, here we go. This is, prepare to be amazed, guys. Here we go. Flat Earth documentary, Beyond the Curve. Action.
You have a backup experiment. If you're seeing through this hole, through the next hole, and seeing the light at the backboard, or at 17 feet off the water, the Earth is flat. If he's holding it up at 23 feet high and we're seeing the light, well, that's because the Earth's curved. So I should only be able to see it when it's at 17 feet. Okay, go ahead and drive down there, Enrique. You're going to hold the light there. Enrique, how high is your light?
17 feet.
I mean, it's as... we don't see you, Enrique. Lift up your light way above your head. Interesting. Interesting there. That's interesting.
What was interesting? I missed it.
Oh,
he held the light above his head.
Okay, so if the Earth was flat, because they're shining lights through holes, essentially. They got two pieces of, looks like styrofoam, and they're shining a light through it. Now, if the Earth is flat, you'll see the light at the same height from a huge distance away because there's no curvature to the Earth, right? But at the end there, I don't know if they had to lift it up. So they could only see the light when they lifted the one side higher. So do you catch it? Do you understand?
Okay,
that?
I see it now. I see it. Just trying to
so
fix
they
some
proved themselves wrong. They're out in the desert late at night. They're doing scientific experiments to prove the Earth is flat, and they prove themselves incorrect. They prove the Earth.
Gotcha. You got to hold it up. Okay, I see. This was a what would you call it? A hit piece video, sort of. But no, it's good though.
No.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. These guys these are real flat earthers. They're out in the desert. Again, they're trying to prove this stuff. They're trying to determine if the Earth is flat. And they prove themselves wrong. They prove that the Earth is round. So again, I'm going to give them credit because they're actually doing these experiments, trying to learn these things. And you note the disappointment in his voice at the end there. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, well, he doesn't know what to say, right? Because this is a real documentary they were putting together, and they proved themselves incorrect.
Okay, I'm with you. And I mean, again, the avalanche of evidence that will probably come along with it. But yeah, that's pretty good. So he actually had to hold it up higher, which means curvature, which means... well, that's too bad. We got a call here. Let's go to the call. So let's take a call. Anything else, Frank, on this this particular video here?
No, we can move on there.
Okay. All right, let's go to the call. And let's see. Let's put this back up on the thing. So many technical problems going on tonight. What's going on? Okay, there we go. Back to the overlay. All right, we are going to this phone call. Let's do this. Good evening. You are on Troubled Minds with Frank and Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
How you doing? My name's Angel. How you guys doing?
Angel from California. Doing very well. How are you, sir? Frank, can you say something? So let's see if he can hear you. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Angel, can you hear me? We're having some problems. So if you can
hear
me,
it's okay. Take your time.
Can you hear Frank?
I actually can't hear him. I could hear you, just you. I don't know what's going on.
What the hell? All right. Well, it looks like all you got is me. Unless you want to jump on Discord, then you got Frank too. So that's up to you.
Well, I guess I could try to use Discord, but I also had a question. So what's been going on? You guys haven't had like a show between Tuesday and Thursday.
Just some things. We're just trying to reorganize, get our schedules synced up again. When daylight savings happens, it throws things for a loop because I do business in multiple states, and some states change and some states don't, and it's kind of ugly. So That's what happened. So we're getting recalibrated, and don't worry, we're not going anywhere.
Great. So I'm going to try to call on Discord, but thank you.
Okay, appreciate that. Sorry the phone didn't work, but we'll catch you on Discord in a minute. Thank you, Angel.
It's all right. You're welcome.
All right, there we go. So we'll have Angel in a sec on Discord, but yeah, all right. All right, there you go.
Something about Angel reminds me about the Flat Earth, and that's not insulting Angel, but he's all about these number stations, right? He's obsessed with these number stations and decoding the transmissions and all this kind of stuff. If you've listened to the show for a while, you know that. And it's interesting because if the Earth was flat, the radio waves would propagate in a very different way than they do now, right? So if you had a broadcasting station in China, and then you had a broadcasting receiver in America, they would connect directly, right? You get an immediate connection between the two. And people have looked at this before. But if it were round, well, you'd have interference. You wouldn't get the signal, right? So that's another little piece of proof there that not a lot of people think about.
Right, absolutely. Lots of things will be affected if this was flat and not round. So, yeah, all right. So, you guys know what to do. Just like Angel, give us a call. Apparently the phone number is not working, so if you want to talk to Frank, which everybody wants to talk to Frank, get on Discord. If you want to find the Discord, go to troubleminds.org, click the Discord link on the top right, and get in here. And, yeah, there we go. There we go. All right. So, are we going to play this? What are we doing? I was in the middle of something. What was I trying to do? Remind me, Frank.
We're in the middle of messing with the Flat Earth, talking about how nonsense the Flat Earth is. And we're getting to a point here. Let's open up a final YouTube video. This is pretty entertaining. Sam the dog gets sent into space with a GoPro. You see this one? Let's pull this up. Let's watch this. And how does this relate to the Flat Earth?
I've actually seen this one. So, yeah, here we go. Sam the dog gets sent into space. So, action.
What they're doing here is they've attached a dog, essentially what's a weather balloon, and they put a GoPro on it, and they're launching this weather balloon up into space. And these things can get quite high. They can get all the way up into the upper atmosphere, not technically right into space, and eventually get so cold up there that the rubber or the latex on the balloon freezes and the whole thing cracks and then pops open. But that's what they're doing in this video. They've taken a weather balloon, filled it up with helium, attached a GoPro and a little toy dog up into it, and they're launching it into space.
Okay, that's a cute dog. I'll give it that. That's pretty good. Okay, so that dog is really high. If you're just listening, it's up in the air. Looks like we're above the clouds now. We're nice enough to edit it, so we don't have to watch every single minute as the dog flies up into the atmosphere. Definitely above the clouds now, and ascending to heaven, as it were. Doggy heaven. All dogs go to heaven, right? That's what I've heard. So yeah, let's see. Let's see what happens to Sam the dog here. I've seen this, spoiler alert. So yeah, keep the chat coming. We're gonna move off of Flat Earth shortly, guys. So don't worry. And if you have comments or anything else, you know what to do. You know where to find us, and keep them coming. I'll read them as we can, and you can yeah, watch Sam the dog go higher and higher. Okay, so see how he's spinning. There's a clear curvature of the Earth here. Is that what we're looking at there, Frank? Or are they going to say it's like the fisheye of the camera? That's a pretty clear curvature.
that's what they do say. They have infinite excuses, these people, to say that the Earth isn't flat. But if you pause it around 210 or near the end of the video, you'll see the point is you could take one of these things, and people have told Flat Earth Society members this many times. You could take one of these cameras, go to Antarctica, launch this, and see. You could really see. You could get proof that Antarctica is a continent. It's not an ice wall that surrounds the entire planet. If this thing were floating way, way, way up there, you would either see a circular continent or you'd see a wall stretching off into the horizon, covering the entire Earth, right? So there's ways to prove these things are real, and they refuse to do them. So even though they're planning this expedition to kind of circumnavigate the entire continent, they won't do stuff like this. It's kind of ridiculous, but I wanted to bring this up because this leads into the next story.
Okay, gonna rewind here. So Justin says you could see there was a fisheye camera at 50 feet. And are you guys high? So let's go back to the beginning here, and it looks pretty non-fisheye.
Again, this has nothing. Yes, some of them do have fish eyes and they make everything appear curved. This is about looking at the continents from space.
Okay.
If this camera is way up there. If this is way up there, you'll either see an ice wall surrounding the horizon stretching off into the distance, or you'll see a continent. And you can even see some of the land mass in this near the end here. But this is a way to prove it, and they won't do it. There's been a whole debate on this. People want to go down there and launch one of these things off, and they refuse to do it.
Gotcha, because you would be able to see this ice wall that's at the edge of the world. Okay. I'll follow you. All right, so I linked this if you guys want to check it out and debate the never-ending fisheye argument. That's fine with me. No problem at all. So it is linked in the chat, so if you'd like a look, there you go. Put it in both, and all right. All right. So go ahead, Frank.
Okay, so the reason I wanted to bring this up is because there's a whole debate going on that the flat earth is essentially controlled opposition. Now, what does that mean? Controlled opposition is like this fake conspiracy, right? People are promoting this fake conspiracy idea, and it has no bearing in reality. So we've talked about this several times. Like, for example, I know you yourself have brought up Noah, the time traveler from Apex TV, right? We love that guy. Not really, but that's a controlled opposition type of deal there. Maybe time travel exists. Maybe there are real time travelers out there. But then something so ridiculous, so transparently false as Noah from Apex TV comes along, and you look at that and you say to yourself, this is all nonsense. This isn't real. This is all fake. Look, this guy's making predictions that have come false, by the way. I've been checking it out. This is fake. So people put these fake conspiracies forward. Uninterested, unaffiliated people start looking into these things, and they realize that, oh, this whole conspiracy idea is nonsense. These things aren't real because these are provably false. Do you understand so far?
Yeah, I'm with you. So far, so good. Just trying to catch up with chat here.
So people think this flat earth idea is a hoax. They think the whole thing is a hoax. It's made by the CIA. You can open up this Atlanteanconspiracy.com. It's not too important. But essentially, they believe this flat earth society is faking the entire thing. They're mixing in misinformation, false facts. They're pretending to do experiments, and they're duping people. The whole goal of that is when people, like that video we saw with the lights and the elevation, when people actually do this stuff for themselves and see it's not real, they're scared straight. They're scared straight. They don't think the earth is flat anymore. They start looking at themselves, critically looking at themselves in the mirror, and they realize, oh, this is all fake. There's probably no aliens. There's probably no time travel. Bigfoot doesn't exist. That's the goal of this. This whole flat earth thing, in my opinion, is to make conspiracies, make all this stuff seem so ridiculous, so patently false, that they just start watching CNN.
Yeah, I kind of agree. It's the whole misinformation bit, right? It's the data dumping we've talked about quite a bit. Where if the truth is out there, even in a small slice, if they just dump a bunch of crap, then it's like needle in a haystack. So and if everything seems more and more outrageous, then the thing that's the actual truth is probably going to be a little less outrageous, let's say. And it will be ignored because everybody will be talking about these sorts of things. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, and I know this type of thing is happening for sure. It's a government documented thing. I don't remember what the name of the program was, but we covered this in a previous show like 6 months ago, something like that. So I'd have to dig it out to find the actual department, but it's funded. I mean, it's funded. They got millions of dollars behind this, and so yeah, maybe this is one of those things. Maybe this is one of those psyops to try and take people off what the truth is, what the real truth is, which is why you can't even ever get to a damn real truth, which seems absurd, right? It seems pretty absurd.
Yeah, and this is the whole point of it, is you think the flat earth is stupid. And when we started talking about it, you probably were rolling your eyes. If you're still listening, you probably tuned out. But you probably thought the whole thing was ridiculous. Why are they talking about this stupid issue? Well, it's not a stupid issue. It's actually very sinister. It's underhanded. It's evil in a way. Because these people are putting this information out there to dupe the masses into believing something, knowing that eventually they'll realize it's fake. Eventually they'll realize this whole thing is nonsense. And then they're going to just start being CNN, Fox News people. They'll stop paying attention to these conspiracies. They'll stop looking into it. This is a very sinister, underhanded move. And this goes on everywhere, not just the flat earth. It's definitely an alien abductions, false alien abduction stories, MUFON covering up evidence, removing details, stripping out information, fake UFO videos. All of this is part of it. That Tom DeLonge stuff with To the Stars Academy, I believe it's a very similar thing. They're putting out these videos. They absolutely guaranteed they were true. They had a chain of custody from the beginning to the end, from when the pilot took the video all the way down to when Tom DeLonge got his hands on it. They said there was a chain of custody. They knew where it came from. It definitely wasn't fake. And news is coming out nowadays that apparently some CGI studio in the Ukraine made these videos up. So this kind of stuff, this controlled opposition, this limited hangout style of information dissemination is happening everywhere, all the time. And we have to be on guard for it. Because imagine this, the New York Times wrote this big article, and a bunch of other major publications wrote these big articles about the To the Stars Academy, right?
Yeah, they did.
Look at the guy in the color queue. Look at the guy in the color queue there. That's funny.
Okay.
I don't think we'll bring you in, sir. But they wrote these major publications. Major publications wrote these stories. And if they turn out to be false, after the New York Times wrote a story about it, no one in their right mind is ever going to believe in UFOs again. So this is a very sinister plan, and we have to be careful.
There's a lot of sinister going on. I think that's for sure. Justin, just a shout out to Justin. He was pointing out in that video that it was a fisheye camera, and I think you're right. So very close to the ground, there was a definite curvature in the camera. But again, that's not what we're talking about. That's a completely different thing, completely different show. Probably not our show, but just kind of talking about the propaganda version of this. And is it a psyop? What kind of actual you've been listening, so I don't have to recap for you, but so I got you. We're with you, man. To scientifically do this correctly, you have to do this correctly. We're not doing that. This is not a science show. This is not us trying to prove or disprove that. We're talking about the periphery, the people that believe it, why they do, etc. Okay, so anyway, so what do you think, Frank? So with all that said, do you think that this in particular is what would be the end game for this information getting out there, for being some sort of CIA psyop or what have you, some disinformation campaign? What do you think? Well, like, if you had to give it one guess, what do you think it'd be?
Again, there was that William Casey, I believe, quote from the former director of the CIA, and it went something like this: when everything the American people know is false, we'll have achieved our goals. So this is the point, is to spread so much misinformation, so much fake news, so much stuff that you don't know what to believe. You have no idea. Like, you're looking at this stuff and you're looking at the news and I have no idea what's going on. That's the goal of this. Because what's the gut reaction to all this misinformation is you have to tune your eyes into a trusted news source. You have to go to someone that doesn't provide misinformation, that doesn't provide falsehoods, and start paying attention to that and only that. That's the only way you avoid all the misinformation, is going to a trusted source. And what they want you to believe is that CNN and Fox News and the mainstream media is the trusted source. You should only get your information from these guys. I don't think this whole plan is working very well, though, because obviously with recent news, we know that they're publishing fake stuff all the time.
Come on. Gonna do the CNN, the most trusted source in news. No, that's a lousy Darth Vader, but yeah. No, exactly right. They tell you that, and it's like in the tagline. You got to trust them. Hey, trust us, guys. We're telling you the good stuff, the right things, the things you should believe. Trust us. Trust us. You're right. Okay, so again, this is not the place really for the flat Earth debate. It's not really what this show's about. It's more about the misinformation, the propaganda that kind of comes along with it. So anyway, you guys know what to do if you want to tell us what you think about flat Earth, or theories on, is this a CIA psyop, or what's actually happening here? There's a lot of evidence both ways. Justin up here says, don't want to completely cut him out of the conversation. He says, yeah, we can't get past low Earth orbit. Do your own research. So, okay. I mean, so there's tons of, again, misinformation. There's tons of information. There's tons of, everything in between. So it's one of those things, right? If you look it up, you can definitely find it. It's kind of like, if you put anything on the internet to sell, somebody eventually will buy it. So stop buying all my underwear, you sickos. But I'm going to keep putting them up. I tell you what. All right, so just kidding. But yeah, the CIA psyop. I think there's something going on here. There's definitely like a, I don't know, like I don't know. I didn't look into the origin of it on exactly where it came from and where it started. I mean, I've seen some YouTube videos where they talk about it in depth and these types of things. And this one guy, somebody on our YouTube channel recommended this one guy. And I watched a few of his videos on YouTube, and he's like going into these Target stores, right? And he's like flat smacking people. He's calling it flat smacking people. He's like so he'll come up with like two random things, not random, perfectly pre-selected things, and he's talking to customers in Target, and they're like, no, like they're like, dude, you got to get out of here. He's filming the whole thing, of course, and so they're like, you can't be talking to our customers, and he's like, okay, can I talk to the employees then? And they're like, yeah, I guess that's okay. So he starts walking around the store, talking to the employees and telling them flat Earth facts. Did you know that? Yeah. Anyway, I thought it was pretty amusing, and the guy was entertaining for sure. But yeah, like it's out there. The stuff is out there. I'm not exactly sure where it came from and what the agenda is, other than I get that there's a giant mistrust of government, and again, all the things we talked about, academia, the major corporations, the whole deal, right? Like this thing we live in is sketchy, right? Because there's a lot of sketchy info and there's a lot of sketchy things about the world, and I get it. Do I believe the earth is flat? No, I don't think so. Not at this point. But again, I'm open to the evidence. If somebody thinks they can actually teach me, okay. I'm open to it. Mike says, everything is a lie. Truth is non-existent. Okay. I'm with you. I'm with you on that.
No, imagine that guy who was in Target spreading that information. He's almost like a preacher, right? He's spreading the word of the gospel. He's going out. He believes in it so much that he wants to convince people about this stuff. Now imagine that guy a couple of years down the road, 3 or 4 years down the road. He looks into this stuff and he realizes it's all fake. It's not real. I've been promoting a lie the entire time. What's that guy going to do? How's that guy going to think about the world now? He's going to be skinno. He's never going to believe in a conspiracy again. That's the way I see it anyway.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, one more from Justin. Again, we're not going to turn this into a flat earth debate. We're going to move on from this right now. But Justin says, I laughed so hard when I first heard it 5 years ago, I don't laugh anymore. Okay, so fair enough. I mean, if you guys are into it and want to look into flat earth a little more, you know what to do. Just go to YouTube, search it up. Apparently the search is fixed. Have you tried that, Frank? The YouTube search is actually working for me again.
Yeah, I have. It's still a bit different. They're still kind of messing around with different things in there. I've been testing it a little bit, so they've changed it. I'm not sure how yet. Justin, please do call in. We said we're not going to make this a flat earth show, but if you've got evidence, if you've got proof, if you can convince us, call in.
Yeah. We again, we're not trying to censor information or turn down information. That just really wasn't the point in talking about this. It was more about the expedition, which is good on them. Just like Frank said, I agree 100%. They're going to go check it out. They're doing actual science out there, which is more than we can say for most people. A lot of folks, even us included, right? We're going to dig on ourselves here. We have our own lives we live, but we don't actually do scientific experiments and put them on YouTube. So, you know what I mean? Like, you got to give them some credit there. So there's a lot of that, and a lot of everything else too. A lot of other information. So again, yeah, Justin, if you want to give us a call, is it Justin? Did I get his name right? So many names. Sorry if I got your name wrong. But anyway, call us. The phone is messed. So get on Discord. You can find it at troubleminds.org, and get on Discord. You can tell us all about flat Earth if you want to, man. We're open to that. Okay, so otherwise, we're going to move on if you don't want to do that. And everybody else, let's see.
No, we do have someone in Discord here who had that funny name. Do we want to bring them on air or?
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Fuck it. Let's do it. Yeah. Whatever. Let's do it.
Yeah, I'll bring them on, and I'll keep my key on the kick button, and you can introduce yourself.
Okay, got it. All right, caller. Are you there?
Hello.
What's up? You were on Trouble Minds with Frank and Mike. What's your first name? Where are you calling from?
Oh, hey guys, it's Angel.
Okay,
your
Angel,
name. Angel, what was with that name? That scared me. That gave me pause for a minute.
Wait. Which one? Does my name show up different?
Yes, it does.
It had an offensive thing in it for a second there, but I think you've changed it.
Oh man, yeah, it's not really what it's supposed to show up. I I usually put funny usernames. I put nipple. I forgot to put it on. I'm sorry. That's so freaking silly. I'm sorry. I didn't. I'm new to Discord, and then I see other people's names are different when they show up on the server. I don't know. I still need to get used to it. Sorry. I'm sorry about that.
We forgive you, brother. As long as you don't actually say that, you're in the clear. Okay, so what's on your mind, man?
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna say it. So you were right about something about that though. I've never actually did much study on the whole flat Earth thing. I do know. I do know that Earth is it's round, but that will always be a debate, and it's all right. We all have things to debate about, so it's okay. I have no problem with it. So so what I wanted to call in, so if it was flat, wouldn't it it would cause interference, or would it connect all the voices? It would technically be crossed shortwave, pretty much. Is that what, or is it about something else? I think it was Frank who said it. Yeah, Frank. I think it was him who said it.
Yeah, just a brief recap. So only at certain times of the day can you get a ham radio signal or a radio signal from China all the way to America, because it bounces off the ionosphere. So it's like reflecting those radio waves back down. Only certain times of the day, though. So if the Earth was... Oh, he quit. Oh, well. If the Earth was flat, you'd get a direct connection all times a day. Well, I'll bring him back in now. So he's having some issues. Okay, you're back on, Angel. Yeah, if the Earth was flat, direct connection, but if it was round, you'd have what we have now. Only signals bouncing off the ionosphere at certain times of day.
Right, definitely. I did hear you, and then when I got back in, I got fast, and then I started thinking, oh wait, I did come back here in time. But I did hear a few of what you said. Can you repeat what you said? I'm really sorry. I had to change my username. I didn't want to make anything out of that. Can you repeat what you said?
Yeah, definitely. So the way the signal is transmitted nowadays from across the world is that at certain times of the day, the ionosphere is charged in a very particular way that these radio signals can bounce down off of it and kind of make a transit around the globe. So I think if the Earth were flat, you'd get connection all times a day. If it were round, yeah, you'd only get the connection that we do now is very rarely. Let's put it that way. And you should know this. If I do pay attention to ham radio and stuff like that, you can only connect to Africa and get signals from across the world at certain times of day because of this.
Yeah, it depends, or if the weather is kind of messed up. Although I did see a video of Cuban number stations being picked up in Canada. Sorry, they were being picked up in Canada, which is weird because, Cuba's a bit far off distance from Canada, though. The only time you could ever hear a Cuban number station is if you're near somewhere in the south of the United States, maybe in the southern states, somewhere in possibly in Alabama or Kentucky, somewhere around Kentucky or Georgia or somewhere around that, or even near New Orleans. Near the city of Orleans. Yeah. You could pretty much hear whatever comes out. And there is a lot of conspiracy against these number stations. You just don't know. A lot of people say, oh, it's part of some cartel trafficking scheme, or it's actually a spy whole case cable thing, possibly, or it could just be somewhere from outer space and maybe an alien message, but you may never know. It just seems weird using a bunch of numbers to communicate to outer life, although it could be possible.
It really does seem weird. It really does. Do you have any new information, new hot takes on these number stations? Anything you've uncovered in the recent weeks?
I haven't uncovered anything, but I might have uncovered a few. I think it was my first time hearing a station that is believed to be transmitted from Eastern Russia, but it transmits numbers in Spanish. Yeah, it transmits numbers in Spanish, and it. From what I believe, it could be transmitted all the way somewhere in Central America or somewhere due to the fact that there's news of spy bases, but that was never covered much. It was a few years ago or somewhere a few months. I don't really remember, but said there was going to be reopened spy bases. But just thinking about that, if you look at the situation in Venezuela, and a lot of people have become with rumors or possibly saying, confirmed that there is a confirmation that the Russians have involved themselves in the Venezuela crisis going on right now. If it's possible, they could build something like that, like a spy base, because these days Central America was the biggest hub for the Cold War, including for all this drama, including for Iran. But it's completely different now because Iran's in the Middle East and there's Central America. That's completely different at that because if they use Venezuela as some sort of bait or some sort of spy base for intelligence, that would spike a lot of tensions because, as Cold War as it was completely about looking out for each other's regions, looking out for each other. Who can we trust? Who is not a spy, and who is not? And, intelligence, radio codes, pretty much, including also being used in propaganda, even movies, like even for British, because they did get involved a lot, and also in Cold War, for movies like 007 or any kind of Cold War movies, like which one? Well, I wouldn't say Platoon. That one's the Vietnam War, but this is more about what kind of movies in the Cold War? Spies like Us, or even Stripes, or pretty much anywhere near from Cold War, and especially war games. Speaking of that, I think another day I'll talk about artificial intelligence. It's one thing that I got interested in. I'll talk about that maybe like in another day, possibly Thursday, or I'll have to think about it. But
okay, Angel. Yeah, we look forward to that. We're going to move on now. Let's keep looking into these number stations together because it is a very, very weird thing. So we'll keep doing our research, and we're going to move on now. But if you have any new information, please do call in again. So we're going to let you go now.
Thank you so much, Frank. Thank you so much, Michael. I was like,
thanks for calling in.
Thanks. I didn't even know what happened to the show. I thought it was like, oh damn, did they get terminated or did something happen? But I don't know. I'm just
again. Quick reminder: we've been going every Sunday, so we've kept our Sunday shows open. If you can tune in then, or you can listen to the archives. Anyway, nice to talk to you. Let's move on.
Thank you, Angel. All right, so let me do a couple quick shout outs here. We got I missed it because I didn't have the chat open to begin with. So Soul Rebel Junglist, what's up on YouTube? We got Trippy Blue on Discord, Juan Carlos on YouTube as well. Noble Kal-El, thanks for hosting us on Mixer. We got Rico there, Lucifer Skull 666, that's a sick name, and Rico again. So Lucifer wants to know, what else do we talk about? We talk about all kinds of stuff: aliens, paranormal, conspiracy theory, you name it, right? So, and then kind of how not just the thing itself, but then the periphery of it, and how what people think about it, and the disinformation involved, and all that. So pretty much everything's on the table with us. We try not to get too political, but sometimes we do say the word Trump. So if that triggers you, well, I just warned you. Okay, so there we go. Everybody's up to date. Tons of comments. Keep them coming, guys. If you want to get on the show, just like Angel there, go to troubleminds.org. The phone line is a little bit weird, so just jump on Discord. You can find the link on the website. Like I said, troubleminds.org, top right. Click it, download it. It's totally free, and you can get on here and talk to Frank and Mike and whoever might be listening. But all right, let's move on from Flat Earth. What do you say, Frank?
Yeah, definitely. The new T word that's triggering everyone. It's not Trump nowadays. It's treason. What do you think about that?
I think that's a good word. I think it's definitely a good word. Let's start with sedition and work our way to treason. But yeah, it's definitely a good word. If that triggers you, I'm sorry. Okay. So then Rico says, one thing I know for sure is that we have definitely been lied to about Earth. Yeah, I think we can all agree with that. And again, part of the reason why we do the show. It's kind of the everyday observations of everyday people, and kind of coming together and talking about it. So that's why we're here. All right, so treason, Frank. You got a reason for that, or you just try and trigger me?
No, I'm trying to trigger you, trying to trigger the chat as well. Yeah, there's so much good information. We kind of talk about everything. Like, for example, a couple of years ago, there was this YouTube channel I was following. It was a bunch of engineering students in Sweden, and they were making their own rockets. rockets from SpaceX. They were smaller, but they were still like 30 feet, 35 feet, and they could actually get up into space, and they were planning to launch their own satellites using these miniaturized rockets. So I don't know, this whole idea that space is fake and there's nothing up there, we can't even get up past the upper atmosphere, that seems a bit silly, because you got these Swedish guys documenting the whole process, actually launching these rockets up into space. And I think that's important. You can talk about certain things, but you got to talk about everything. All these topics tie together. So a little piece of evidence like that, a bunch of engineering students making their own rockets, I think that goes a long way to dispute some of these claims, if that makes sense, because they have no reason to lie. They have no reason to make stuff up, and the entire thing is transparent. The entire thing is documented. So talking about stuff like that, even though it may seem boring, you know, it leads evidence, and it leads discussion points into all this other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And I think most importantly about that fact right there is that we can't rely on government information, because we know they're taking our tax money, they're putting into programs to pump propaganda and disinformation at us with our own damn tax money. And so you do FOIA requests and they stall them, and they tell you, nothing found, and it's just on and on and on with governments and their lack of transparency. I think it's more important in this day and age that, like we said, even these flat earthers, we don't believe the earth is flat, but props to them for going out and doing experiments, right? They're actually doing these things. Seriously, good on them, because where else are you going to get the information? If you can't trust the quote, trusted source of information, where the hell else are you going to get it? Right. And it's from guys like us. It's from guys like you. It's from people all around the world that are doing these things on their own with a camera and documenting everything. And, that's what YouTube used to be. I'm not so sure that's what YouTube is now, or Facebook or any of these other platforms, but, it's an important thing. And of course, these are, there's always that argument that things are, experiments that have been done over and over and over again. You read about in a history book, but have you actually done the experiment yourself, right? And with technology the way it is today, where you can find things easily to actually conduct these experiments yourself, that's important. It's important. And, even if it's a repetition of something to verify, it's important, right? It's information. And that it gets put up on YouTube and somebody can check, and, we can fact check each other and all that. Anyway, that was a nice way off track ramble, but it is. I think it's critical that we talk to each other in these types of forums, because we can't trust the government. We can't trust academia. They hide things behind a paywall. They spin their numbers. The major corporations, of course, they're spyware everywhere. They're dishonest about it. On and on. I mean, it's just it's an upside down world for sure. For sure. Did I trigger you, Frank?
No, you made me think. I saw a story earlier today. We didn't pull it up, so we can just briefly mention it. But apparently all Intel chips, so Intel is the CPU company. I'm sure you all know that. Intel and AMD, they make CPUs. But all Intel chips have this hidden architecture in them that no one knew about before today. They've got like a little something built into them. And no one knows what it is. No one knows why it's there. And people are speculating, people are thinking that the government has mandated they install a little chip inside the larger chip, so the CIA can just log on and check everything out they want, like a built-in backdoor. And we saw some of that stuff with the Vault 7 release from WikiLeaks. A lot of these backdoors being built into televisions and radios and all these consumer electronics. But even the Intel chips now, they have this little thing built into them, and no one's really sure why it's there. So talking about spyware, there you go. There's a story about that.
And Huawei gets the bad rap, right? The company from China that had the executive arrested in Canada. You heard about that one, I'm sure. But so they're actually they're called spyware. Huawei, HUAWEI, and the intelligence community for a very long time has said they are a Chinese state-sponsored electronic company that basically sells their stuff to the world to spy on the world, right? Disguised as an electronics company, trying to compete with stolen plans and architecture. It's a crazy world, but yeah. So right, so like I said, they got nothing on Huawei then, huh? Backdoor chips, the CIA logins to your. Oh geez, again, right? Like,
it's a scary world. Yeah, to think they've built that into everything, because you either use AMD or you use Intel. There's not much else out there. And so if they've built that into everything, well, you can't be safe. There's no way to be safe. It's part of your computer, part of your system is this built-in backdoor. Yeah, talking about Huawei, that's scary. That's a scary thing because it's not only their phones, it's their service. So they're putting up these 5G towers, these 4G towers. And it's much like those Stingray devices we talked about before. The police deploy these fake Stingray towers that your phone connects to, and they can basically scrub through all your data. But countries, Canada, the US, Australia, are contracting Huawei to put up these towers to provide service, and they can just look through your data. When you connect to that on your cell phone tower, look right through everything. It's kind of a scary world to think that we're putting Chinese spyware towers into our countries just for the sake of convenience and capitalism, because they can do it cheaper than Bell or TELUS or whatever these other companies are, Verizon.
Well, right, of course, because they're stealing our information. I mean, when you're state sponsored by a $1 billion $1 trillion government, yeah, I mean, yeah. Anyway, scary stuff. A little derail there, but yeah, you guys heard of Huawei. Anyway, so if you want to be part of the show, go to troubleminds.org. Get in here, talk to us. Download Discord if you don't have it. Join the Discord, and you can get on just like Angel did from California there and talk about whatever you want. We're a little bit loose on on Thursday, which is tonight, or Friday. Happy Friday to those that actually have a happy Friday. And yeah, all right, here we are, Frank. What's next?
I don't know. Do you have Chinese social credit? Do you want to talk about that, or do you want to talk about prevent alien abductions and kind of the crazy literature surrounding that's out there on the internet?
Let's talk about since we've been so non-alien, let's do alien. Let's do the alien abductions first, and then we'll save the Chinese credit score for later.
Okay, I was looking through. This is a topic we've talked about many times now, is how to prevent an alien abduction. We've had several terrifying calls, stuff that would really chill you to your bone. People calling in. Their families are being abducted by aliens. They're being abducted by aliens, and no one can stop them. There's nothing they can do. They come into your house, you lose consciousness, you black out, you can't think of anything. And then you wake up and you feel sick, you feel groggy, there's cuts and bruises all over you. It's a horrible thing. So how do you prevent these alien abductions? What can you do? Now, there's a couple of news stories out there. One was John Edwards from Stardust Ranch, where he was in a bad traffic accident as a child. And when the aliens came to him, apparently they couldn't control his mind because he had brain damage, as silly as it sounds. So he fought them off with a samurai sword. You can go check that episode out, Trouble Minds Radio. I believe it's called Stardust Ranch. And the other one was this guy in England who appeared to be fist-fighting an alien, and I think he was drunk at the time. So those were two options. But I really wanted to look into other options, how you could prevent alien abductions. Have you read anything about this before we get into it? Like, what do you think we can do to prevent these abductions?
I've heard... okay, so this is straight from Tom DeLonge of Blink 182 and of To the Stars Academy fame. He was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about that particular thing. And we've mentioned this once or twice on the show in, hundreds of hours of talking on the show at this point. So forgive us for bringing it up one more time. But he said specifically that you can call out to some sort of spiritual creator. So it doesn't matter if it's Jesus or Buddha or this or that. If there's some sort of actual maybe non-physical psychic scream, let's say, like a prayer to Jesus, that is supposed to run them off, is what he was saying. So again, you got to watch your source because that's Tom DeLonge, of course. But that's one thing I've heard, and we've kind of tossed that out a little bit and talked about it from time to time. But I think other than that, I haven't heard anything specific, anything said specifically how you do or don't. So if you got some ideas, Frank, I'm all ears.
Yeah, let's open up this alienabductionwatch.wordpress.com article. Alien abductions, can we even stop them? And this summarizes briefly some of the methods that people have used and some of the information people have used to prevent alien abductions, to stop them in their tracks. And a lot of these are kind of crazy, but we'll go through them. So the first way, if you scroll down this article, is these religious methods, just like you were mentioning. So if you start chanting the name of Jesus Christ or the Allah or the Buddha or whatever in your head, apparently that stops them. So they say here, there are several instances of abductees citing the names of religious figures, and in some cases this has reportedly worked. So they say, Jesus save me, or Buddha save me. And these people are taken up, they're abducted, and then they start chanting these things, screaming them out. And then the aliens say, no, I'm not dealing with this crazy person. They drop them back off again. So this is a big thing, is kind of calling to your faith, calling to your beliefs. And apparently this stops the abductions, or it confuses the grays in some cases, is what they say. But they say here, if an abductee truly believes that Jesus or some other being is standing in the room protecting him, the grays have really no choice, and they believe it as well. So it's almost like you're convincing them that there's some protector there. The grays are susceptible to your beliefs. This is what this webpage is saying. What do you think about that?
Okay, so I have heard that it's a thing. Like I said, the actual source to me is sketchy because Tom DeLonge is right, probably a government shill. Probably, my opinion, of course. But you know, hey, maybe we're government shills, right? Like I'm sure people have called us that before, or probably will call us again. Oh, which we're not, by the way. But whatever. That's what a government shill would say. So anyway, you decide for yourself. Okay, so we got a couple comments in here that specifically say they've tried that. And so Kimberly says, no, it does not work. I've tried it. So Kimberly has stated previously that she's had some abduction experience type things, visitations at least, and that does not work. And then she gets echoed in chat by Diane. What's up, Diane? Says, no, I tried. It doesn't work. So we have two folks here in chat that say that's not a thing. So again, right? Like again, this is the whole point of the show, right? This is information. So you guys, right? Where do you have a platform? Diane, Kimberly, right? Who's going to listen to you? Who's going to say, look, these people say no, that's not a thing. But the other homeboy was on the Joe Rogan podcast, and he gets a ton of press, and they're raising millions of dollars and all this crap, right? And so somehow, some way, we're supposed to listen to this clown. Why though? Like the question is, why should we listen to him when you guys are right here and you're saying, no, this has happened to me. Something similar has happened to me. I tried this specifically and implicitly, and it didn't work. So if you guys have information about that, get on Discord. We'd love to hear about it. But yeah, so there's a couple of direct people refuting that. So there's that. But Kimberly adds, I did that over and over. And let's see what else. And maybe if they take you away, yeah. Okay. So yeah, I'm not sure. Again, I'm not sure with your guys' experiences, of course. I don't know the details, so I'm just kind of in a cursory manner here going over it. But if you have information, type it in, we'll read it, or get on Discord and tell us. Kimberly adds, but if they take you where you are, or if they visit you where you are and don't take you away, they won't leave. Okay. All right. Again, not my experience, so I'm not exactly sure, but I believe you. I believe you. Let's see. Diane says Greer is a... Wait, what? Is a D. Yeah, D. I don't even know. I'm not even going to speculate. Wink, wink. Okay, so, all right. What do you guys think? What do you think, Frank? So, have you ever had an abduction experience you can tell us about?
Nope. Thankfully, because some of these stories we've heard and some of these regression sessions, you can go back and listen to past episodes, they're terrifying. So I hope I haven't, but I don't know if I have, right? Because they make you forget. Let's go into this a little bit more, though. A lot of people are saying it doesn't work. I kind of believe that because I found this old article. If you can open up this, educateyourself.org, prevent alien military abductions. If you can find this, this is a word salad article. This is absolutely crazy talk. And you might want to skim through this just for your own entertainment, but they list some of these prayers. They list some of the things you can do to prevent alien abductions. And this is from 2005. So they say, how to stop alien abductions. Ask God to send angelic protection to your house and seal it off from the attacks of the enemy. Then put your hands in the air as though you were laying hands on space for healing and say the prayers below. Now, what are these prayers? The enemy's jump gate technology will not function in the sealed-off house. The enemy's fractal jump gate technology will not function in the sealed-off house. The enemy's living machine jump gate technology will not function in the sealed-off house. The enemy's fractal living machine jump gate technology will not function in the sealed-off house. And so these are chants, essentially, what you have to say to protect yourself. I don't know if you're skimming through this thing, but it's absolutely crazy. So, for example, in the name of Lord Jesus Christ, I break, dissolve, sever, and crush and destroy every ungodly soul tie, hook, link, and connection to my base chakra and my physical body, etheric body, astral body, and all the energy bodies in Jesus' name. In Jesus' name, I bind every living thing that came into me from these connections. In Jesus' name, I close every door that was open to me through those things. I take away every legal bond, every legal hold you have on me, and I cut them loose, etc., etc., etc. So these are apparently prayers and chants you can use to protect yourself. This is a pretty entertaining read if you want to take a look at it. But what do you think about this? What do you think about some of those chants and some of those demands?
I thought that was amazing. I think you should do that again. Here we go. I'm putting it up. I was trying to find it, and it turns out I didn't actually have it in my list here, so it is now in the list. But I was having a good time hearing you chant to Jesus. So, yeah, I don't know. I mean, so we have some people say you can do this, some people say you can't do this, and I don't know. And oddly enough, from 2005, right? So this was all before this modern bit of Tom DeLonge and all this other, let's say government spook type business going on. So it makes you wonder, right? Like, do you think the date has any kind of maybe relevance, or maybe gives it a little more power here, a little more credibility than Tom DeLonge or something like that? To me, it does for sure. But I don't know.
To me, it does too. For all this kind of stuff, the historical sources, stuff from 2,000, 5,000 years ago, that's unimpeachable, in my opinion. That information, those records, we may not understand what they're saying, but I think we have to take that seriously, all this historical stuff. And it goes on like that. So anything from the year 2005 is more credible, let's put it that way, than the year 2018. There's so much fakery and nonsense nowadays, but this was back in 2005. So I take this more seriously than I would if it was from 2018. Yeah, but it's still, I mean, if you're desperate, if you need something, if you need some kind of hope to hold on to, you can go through this page and read through it and read the warfare prayers. Protect yourself. Heavenly Father, in the name of Lord Jesus Christ, I ask you, in Jesus' name, please send hundreds and millions of legions of angels to surround me and encamp around me and set up angelic shields, and so on. So there is stuff in here. You could do this if you really wanted to. It is interesting to read through.
That was amazing, Frank. Did I ever tell you I was a fan? Because I am now. If I wasn't before, I definitely am now. Okay, so I did link this if you guys want to check out this article. It is in all of the chats, and it'll of course be in Discord as well. So if you're not on Discord, come join us on Discord. Yeah, I mean, again, me personally have never, that I recall, have had any sort of visitation or experience like this. So yeah, good information. This is definitely good information. And so speaking of actually going back into history a little bit, let's derail for just a sec. So the reason I brought up the date there, the 2005, and Frank agrees 100%. He just said that, the further back you go and this information is out there, whether it's good information or not, you have to take the date into account, right? Because so much more information happens as the internet ages, right? As these, government programs just spin out the disinformation and the propaganda and all the crap they do, right? So it's really hard to tell what's what. But if you go back far enough, right? I don't know if you saw this, Frank. This is pretty amazing. So there was an article I saw where they were talking about a Herodotus, an old philosopher, old school scientist. One of those guys that was kind of like, back then people didn't just do one thing. They did many things. They did dozens of things, like dozens of disciplines. They traveled, they wrote history. They did all these things, right? They made sketches of things, of, just recording history, like these type of people. So like an old school historian was multi-talented. Well, in this case, so Herodotus had written in one of his journals about these ships they built in Egypt. Okay, so of course, I'll pull this article up so we can, since we're talking about it. But what happened was he described this ship this ancient Egyptian ship in detail, down to like the inch measurements and how they were built. And for whatever reason, I just don't understand this, the archaeologists and anthropologists and the people that are, learn this shit in class basically said that his account was not accurate because, he's an ancient, right? Of course, the ancient people weren't as smart as us, right? They didn't have access to, an iPhone. So of course, yeah, right. You get it. But okay. But here's where the article comes in, which I'll pull up in just a sec and put up on the screen here, is that they found this exact ship that the guy was talking about. So maybe not the exact one, but the exact measurements, when of course they wrote it off as being fictitious because, well, he's an ancient guy, right? Like you can write off anything you want about the ancients because we don't have any archaeological evidence, which to me is the most absurd thing I've ever heard, because it seems like the ancient people seem to be a hell of a lot smarter than we are today, right? Anyway, yeah, I'm going to pull this up, but what do you think about that?
Yeah, that's something I worry about. I really do worry about, because there's a difference between knowledge and wisdom, right? Today we have a bunch of knowledge. We can log on Wikipedia and learn about literally anything we want. It's so easy to get knowledge nowadays. But I don't think we have very much wisdom. Like, we spend all our time listening to shows like this, listening to the radio, looking at televisions, texting on our phones. We don't really do anything. But back in the day, even though there was a lack of knowledge, what could you do with your time? All you could really do is think. You could farm your field and you could think. That's all you could do. There was no television to waste your time. There was nothing. So I think that's one of the biggest problems that's going to face our society nowadays, is not a lot of people are thinking. Not a lot of people are processing information. Sure, there's smart people out there. There have always been smart people out there. We waste our time. We literally just waste our time. We don't think about things anymore. I remember a while ago, and this is kind of what convinced me to get rid of my phone and not use it so often, is I was trying to solve a problem, something to do with work. Instead of actually thinking about the problem, instead of actually trying to understand it, I just looked for an answer. I looked for an answer on the internet. I didn't stop to think. I just searched to see if someone had thought for me already. And we do that too often. We don't actually think about things. So those ancient guys, that's all they did, is they thought about stuff. So I think we have to take very seriously.
Yeah, again, so I posted the article there in the Discord if you want to take a look, Frank. It's up on the screen. So this is The Guardian. Quick derail, because I think it's important to note this. Nile's shipwreck discovery proves Herodotus right after 2,469 years. And Greek historians' description of this Barus vessel vindicated by archaeologists at sunken city of Thonis Heraklion. Now again, they discounted this. Now, it is absolutely absurd to me that if you go back to the ancient Greeks, okay, and they're still to this day, right, we're still talking about their philosophy, right? That's how smart these guys were. The toppest, smartest, most dedicated people then. Their notions, their thoughts, their theories still hold today, right? And they can still match what we're doing today, philosophy-wise. So if they were that smart, right, to be able to create these thoughts that travel through the ages, they travel through time and they stick, right? And they're still compelling thousands of years later. Somehow we discount an exact sketch in this guy's document. It's absurd to me that, because again, back to the human hubris, we are modern people unbelievably conceited in ourselves and sure of our technology and all of these things. But I mean, holy crap, look, I mean, there it is right there. Vindicated. So they found the exact vessel, exact measurements in this guy's sketch, which they wrote him off as, he must have been mistaken. Like, are you kidding me? Like, he was a historian and he spent his life documenting things like this. But for some reason, right? Like, think about how absurd that is. For some single reason, he just made this shit up and put it in like his histories. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense at all. It drives me nuts.
I'll play the devil's advocate a little bit there, because oftentimes these guys do make shit up. You know, they'll write out a speculative document. It won't be real. There's no basis in fact. Then the diagram of the ship may be correct, but then something else in his journal will be clearly false. You know, some weird thing, some giant city or something like that. So oftentimes there is a reason to discount them, but I agree. I do agree, basically, is that people just throw away these ancient knowledge. They throw it away and they say, oh, these guys are stupid. They didn't know anything. It's kind of ridiculous. We got to stop getting there.
Yeah, and again, just want to point this out that the date where the information comes from should bear some weight in the actual information itself, right? For better or for worse. And so in this case, they wanted to say worse. But anyway, okay. Like I said, derail. Wanted to pull it up and talk about it because I think it's important. Definitely think it's important. Okay. Let's see. Chat from Mixer. What's up? Brian Jokes, Bad Jokes. Brian says Alex Jones would have a field day on here. Fake news. Give us a call, buddy. Troubleminds.org. Get on Discord. You can tell us all about it. We, unlike the rest of the fake news, we actually take critics on here. So if you want to tell us we're full of it, good, man. We want to know why. Please set it straight. No problem. We appreciate the you watching. Appreciate the feedback. Appreciate the comments. Okay, so let's see. On and on. All right, caught up in chat. Yeah, how'd that make you feel, Frank? Did you Herodotus?
Yeah, I think that goes to the root of the issue. Is there's more fake news nowadays than there was 200 years ago. Definitely, there's fake news coming out left and right nowadays. But 200 years ago, 1,000 years ago, paper was precious. You couldn't waste paper on fake news. Maybe it's as simple as that, or maybe it's people were smarter back then. I don't know. Something to think about. The history, the date is very important.
I'm gonna go with people were smarter back then. Just because, that's me. Whatever. All right. So, yeah. All right. So wait. Where were we? Before the derail, we were talking about.
We were talking about alien abductions, how to prevent them, how to stop them, and we went over religious methods. So switch back to this article, alienabductionwatch.wordpress.com.
Okay.
And let's go to the second method to prevent abductions. My favorite method in this list. Scroll down, you'll see why. Conventional weapons. That's right. So instead of relying on religious prayers, you rely on a shotgun or a samurai sword or an assault rifle to prevent these abductions from happening. Now, due to recent events, I'm not advocating that you shoot these things in your house or shoot them anywhere because that would be bad, but this is a way to prevent them. This is, according to this news article, is use conventional weapons. So they come in your house, well, you shoot them, right? That seems to me, it's straightforward, it's obvious. What do you think about this? There's some cases they list here, but what do you think about this? This seems to be the way. They come in your house, you shoot the damn things.
Well, I mean, if they're flesh and blood, or they're some sort of android, or like we've talked about, a cybernetic thing, sure. I mean, they could take kinetic damage, right? Which would be a bullet, and maybe it can help you. Maybe it'll run them off. I'm with you, man. Like, if I get aliens in my house and I'm not frozen in place, I'm going for my gun. And it's however it's gonna go down after that is how it's gonna go down. I might win, they might win, or none of the above. D, none of the above. But that's how it's gonna go down. And that's the first thing in my mind. So, yeah, no, I'm with you. I agree 100%. So I am not thinking save me Jesus. I'm thinking, do I have enough 9mm hollow points to take down all these aliens? That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, I'm with you on that for sure.
The Church of Hot Lead.
Yeah,
Church
exactly.
Of Hot Lead. Anyway, so it's interesting. They give a couple of cases here where people have fought off aliens with conventional weapons. And something to note is that in most of these cases, the aliens are not in direct proximity. So they're not standing right beside the person. So Ann Druffel reports that Billy Wolf shot and clipped a gray on his roof. So a gray was climbing in at his roof. He was kind of far away from it, not right up beside it. And he shot this gray, and he saved himself from abduction. And I think that's important. Maybe their mind control technology, maybe their way to put you in stasis or put you to sleep, they have to be right beside you. They have to be right up next to you. So if you can clip them a few times before they get close, well, there you go. Now, they talk about Phil Schneider in here, too. We heard that story. We did a whole show on him, but he was down under the earth, excavating for these deep underground military bases, and he shot up some aliens with his sidearm. So that's another option. And they also say that during the Vietnam War, apparently Greys were harvesting body parts. So a squad of soldiers got the jump on them, and the firefight ensued, and some of the Greys were killed, along with one of the military members. And other cases during the Vietnam War where snipers took out the Greys from afar. So again, this proximity aspect, if they're right up beside you, well, it's too late. They've controlled your mind. But if you're far away and you've got a sniper rifle, you can take them down.
Yeah, agreed. Got some chat here. Mike wants to know why kill them. They're not killing us. Well, in some cases, there have been mutilations, human and cattle mutilations. So, that I think that actual fact is open to debate. So, maybe if you don't want to get killed or abducted or, experimented on, I mean, defense, right? Self-defense. I would think that's going to be an option.
I hate to be mean to the audience, but that's such a naive point of view. If I came to your house, the person who wrote that comment, if I came to your house and I drugged you, and I took you out in my van and I started anal probing you and doing experiments on you, I think you have every right to shoot me, right? So if a human did the things these aliens are purported to do, I think we have every right to initiate self-defense. So yeah, I wouldn't kill you, but if I'm shoving something up your bottom, well, I'd be okay with it. Let me put it that way. So, take it in perspective. If a human were to do the things these aliens are doing to you, I think you'd have every right to shoot them.
There you go. And I agree. Hashtag 2A. All right. So, yeah. All right. So we got yell out to Jesus, Buddha, whatever, Allah, or whatever it is, right? Something close to you. And, that's said to be one way. We've had, some people in chat say that doesn't work. Well, I'd like anybody out there who's maybe shot an alien to tell us that doesn't work, because I'm going to stick with hot lead first. That's option number 2. Are there additional options after that, Frank?
Yes, there are. Give me a second.
No problem. Let's check the chat real quick. All right, so Devin, what's up? Ash, thanks for showing up. Thanks for being here, guys. Devin says they're ancient warriors. Todd says it's naive to believe every Tom, Dick, and Harry who said they were abducted and probed. Maybe. Well, I mean, every anything is a statement. It's definitely a statement that you can refute, because every anything is nothing, right? Everything is nothing, I think is what I'm trying to say. I'm not sure what I'm trying to say, but I think maybe if you guys can maybe read my mind, you know what I'm trying to say. Okay, so Joe says, I just hope they use a glove. Okay. All right, man. Joe, another of our resident comedians, along with Larry. Larry says, is talking about killing Zeta's hate speech? Oh, dear Lord. Did we go there? You just triggered me, buddy. Now I'm triggered. Now I'm triggered. Okay, how about this?
That's something,
what
that's something I'm actually worried about.
Go ahead.
Sorry to interrupt there. Let me continue before I forget. Imagine this. Aliens invade. They start killing people. They start polluting. They take over land. And you've got this segment of the population that says, well, they have every right to be there. They're wonderful human living things too. They're all God's creatures. There's going to be some hippies out in the audience or out in the world there that try to protect these aliens. Even though they're attacking us, even though they're hurting us, there's going to be people out there who are, just like we have animal rights nowadays, there'll be alien rights. That's a disgusting thing. It really is.
Well, I mean, I think if we have evidence that they're doing experiments on us, I think I'm throwing that out the window. I don't like it. I don't like it, especially after that. What was that guy's name we talked about in the second alien abduction one? Somebody Jacobs or something or other. David Jacobs, is that the guy?
Yeah, David Jacobs. Yeah, the whole covert plot to essentially take over the Earth. Yeah.
So exactly, this guy. So this is one of the guys that says they're here and they're here to take over. So I think if I see an alien, I'm not gonna feel bad about shooting it. Let's say that. Okay. So let's see. So a couple more. It's the rubber glove seduction. You guys are sick. Rolf says, let us pray to them aliens and say, look out, we know who you are. And yeah. Timothy doesn't trust aliens, no way. Ash, what's up, says, the more I research, the more it seems like we really need more information. I agree, you know what? It's one of those things where, like I said, if there's real information out there, I'm not even sure which slice is real, because there's so much crap. So, I think just that topic alone, if you just parse through all the information about aliens out there, and you could spend years doing a show like this, talking about only that and only that, and trying to figure out what was real and what was not. And I'm not even sure you get anywhere, to be honest. But yeah, definitely.
It's pretty good point you brought up earlier, is that this Herodotus, the philosopher, the historian, wrote this picture of a ship, drew the diagram, and no one believed him until they found the ship, right? Nowadays, we have people talking about aliens, talking about abductions. No one believes them. until they find a ship, until they find an alien body, right? It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing.
It is. It is. And we have people that swear they've seen these things. We have people that have been gone through the hypnosis, right? And it's come out that they've seen these things, and which details they didn't even remember specifically. So, I mean, yeah, to completely disbelieve this is I don't know. It's what's a good way to put it without being mean? It just seems like if you let's put it this way, being nice. If you put too much faith in a message from humanity, I think you're selling yourself short as a human being. Does that make sense? There's more to the universe than humans, is what I'm trying to say. And I think if we just we get locked into that world, into that propaganda cycle, into too much faith in the institutions that be, we're ending up in the human grip. But there's so much more that we're missing, or anyway, something like that. Hopefully it's a good point, or hopefully it makes sense. Yeah,
definitely. I think the biggest problem nowadays is we think we know everything. We think there's no more to be learned, no more to be discovered. And, some people are out there discovering things and learning new things, of course. But the vast majority of people are just content. They're happy where they are now. They think we know everything. We don't need to do any more research. We don't need to figure out anything else. That's ridiculous. If you think about the universal sum of knowledge, we don't even come close. We're not even a tick on that. There's so much to be discovered, so much to be learned. It's unfathomable how much information there is out there.
Yeah, and we're just like a flea on a hare's ass or whatever. Okay, so Larry says abductees have died in captivity, kidnapping and murder. They are criminals. Talking about aliens. Yeah, right. I agree. Shoot first, ask questions later. That's my thought. John says, "What's up?" John says, "He says this may sound weird, but I don't think they will ever attack us. Why? Because they are us in the future. Something to think about. They are just probing us like we would dinosaurs. Just a thought." Yeah. Didn't we talk about that the last episode? Right, the last real full episode. I think that was one of the.
That aliens are just time travelers from the future coming back. Well,
right.
Well. I guess they lost their history books. I guess they repealed the Second Amendment in the future because that's not okay.
Right. It's not okay. I agree. Buck Rogers still had a gun. All right. What's up, Fred? Thanks for showing up, buddy. Let's see. Mike says you misunderstood the word probe. I don't know if we misunderstood it. Probe is probe. It's it ends up being maligned and made fun of, but I'm not so sure. Let's see. All right. Comments. Let's see. And all right. We're caught up. I think we got some. What's up, Blazing Fire 822? Thanks for showing up, man. On Mixer. We got lots of action on Mixer tonight. So thank you again, Noble Kal-El, for sharing to your Mixer fan or crew there. That would be amazing. It was amazing, and keep doing it. We appreciate that. All right, so I don't know. Where are we at, Frank? Help me out.
Okay, we talked about these religious prayers, and not a lot of people believed it. They said they've tried, it didn't work. Then we've talked about firearms, and a lot of people are saying that's not good either. You don't want to kill the aliens. I disagree, but whatever. Let's go to option 3 on this Alien Abduction Watch article. Security alarms. Well, this is interesting. Do you know how security alarms, the conventional ones we have in our house, do you know how they actually work? How do they detect motion, intruders, all this? Do you know the science behind it?
No. No. I'll just say no.
Okay, well, how they work is infrared. So they put these infrared emitters up in the house, and if they're reflected back, if there's motion in the room, the infrared reflects off the intruder creeping through your house back onto the sensor. That triggers the alarm, and you get the thing going off, woo, 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 or whatever, right? That's how they work, is infrared in your house. And that's interesting, isn't it? Because we've heard about infrared an awful lot. With these To the Stars Academy videos, you could only see those ships with infrared cameras. Some of these other weird invisible creatures, you could see them with the infrared, but you couldn't see them with conventional light. So what they're saying here is that infrared security systems in your house if the aliens put on their invisibility cloak and creep in to take you away, these things will detect them. They'll see them moving around, they'll trip the alarm, and you'll be aware because of this infrared. What do you think about this?
I think that's a little bit scary. So if your thing goes off, I did read a thing about carbon monoxide in aliens too. Maybe your smoke detectors going off might be a sign of that. But yeah, maybe some of these more mundane technologies we have, more common technologies on Earth, maybe they are actually able to detect this stuff. I mean, yeah, Tom DeLonge says so it's gospel to me, right? Forward-looking infrared. If you got infrared, you can see aliens. Yeah. Do you have any of that in your house, Frank? Any kind of?
Of course I do.
Of course,
absolutely.
Of course I do. All right, just checking. I don't. I go the old-fashioned way.
Internal sensors everywhere. But yeah, that's how that works, is infrared. And I thought that was pretty interesting because, again, we've seen time and time again UFOs and cloaked individuals. They're not just, you can't see them. You can't see them with visible light, but this infrared emission coming from them, you can see it. So I thought that was pretty interesting. If you are being abducted, maybe some kind of a cheap infrared security system could protect you, could wake you up. It's pretty cheap to put in one room. You can even make them yourselves nowadays, going on Amazon, buying all the equipment, welding it and soldering it together. That's pretty interesting that this idea of infrared keeps coming up. Because again, even our science nowadays, we know that we can hide light. We know that we can prevent light. There was some Chinese company making an invisibility style cloak, and it seemed to work perfectly fine. So if we can do that, if we can hide light, these aliens who are much more advanced can definitely hide light. But the problem is you can't hide heat. If you insulate yourself, if you cover yourself in a heat shield so no heat escapes, what's going to happen? You're going to overheat, right? So think about that. You're sitting in your room and you're emitting heat right now. Your skin is releasing heat into the atmosphere. If you seal all that up, if you prevent any heat from escaping, thus infrared light from escaping, you're going to overheat. You're going to burn to a crisp in no time. So that's something you can't get around, it seems, is you have to release heat, or these ships and these cloaking devices don't work at all. So infrared sensors could be the solution.
Definitely. What's up, Fred? Fred, top fan badge. Looks good on you, my man. Yeah, Fred says, so he lives in Arizona, and he got one of those FLIR cameras. So he hasn't actually seen any with his FLIR yet, the forward-looking infrared. So he's been scanning the sky, and that's the update. Thanks for that, Fred. So nothing yet. When you see something, we want a picture, please. If you can get a picture, we'd love that. Glenn says, what's up, Glenn? Thanks for showing up. Kill the aliens and quit possibly kill ourselves. I think people should really think about shooting without knowing why they're examining us and trying to reproduce the human body. It could be for our benefit. Yeah, I'm with you, except not me. Not my house. Not when I'm asleep in the middle of the night. Nope, not happening. So if you want to volunteer for that, I think, you know what? I think that might be the thing, right? Maybe if they had a volunteer sign-up bit, maybe we could just stop this whole shoot the alien, you know? You know what I mean? Like, just erase it from our memory, because, then they're coming to get people that want to be taken. I don't know. Not me. Don't do that to me, please. But yeah, I'm going to shoot first.
That assumes that, I'm going to shoot first too. That assumes that one person is the same as the other. But according to David Jacobs there, that's not the case at all. They're abducting very specific people because they're hybrids, or they're necessary to create the proper gene line or something like that. So, this volunteer system, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But I think they're abducting people for a reason, not just randomly. And if they're abducting them for a reason, well, the volunteer system, I don't think it would work out quite too well.
Well, unless, of course, they did like MK Ultra and just told you the reason was some other reason. We're going to take you out for a intergalactic lunch. Would you like to come with us? Maybe see a nice view of Saturn. Wink, wink. Yeah, they get lots of people to sign up. And then, of course, something else happens entirely. But yeah, no, I'm not signing up for that. Not signing up for that. Okay, so lots of chatter in here, trying to get people to call in or whatnot. So if you guys do want to call in, this show's live. It's Thursday night. It's probably past into midnight Friday, past midnight Friday for some of you. So Thursday night, Friday early morning, and we are taking calls. So if you guys want to be on the show, you can do that by going to troubleblinds.org and check out the Discord link on the top right. The phone's a little weird. Frank can't hear you tonight. I thought I fixed it. It's not fixed. So Discord's the way to go tonight. So you can find that at troubleminds.org. Discord's a free chat client and a free voice client. That's how Frank and I communicate and do the show. And you can get on here and be part of it too. Angel called in earlier on Discord, and we talked about some good stuff. So if anybody wants to give us their take on any of these things, how about this? Do you have any other ideas about alien abductions, how to stop them that we haven't talked about yet? Or are we missing something in the things we did talk about? We'd love to hear it. So please get in here and let us know. That's what this is all about. We want to hear from you because a lot of you guys have had some experiences that we have not had ourselves. And of course, right, that's an eyewitness, and we're going to give you credence and credibility because we haven't seen them ourselves. And if you have, then we'd love to hear it. Definitely. Let's see, more chat. Where are we at, Frank? So shoot first, ask questions later. Call to Jesus. What else?
Yeah, infrared security systems.
Infrared security, yep.
Detect them and wake you up before they can abduct you. I was thinking about that. Like some kind of dead man switch that injects you with a bunch of methamphetamine and PCP, you know? So if you're in your house, maybe your Wi-Fi signal is preventing this device from going off, but if they take you up to their ship, you lose the Wi-Fi signal and this thing juices you up like the soldiers in World War II, and you go crazy and beat up all the aliens. That's kind of a crazy thought I had. What do you think? Do you have any ideas? Any way to prevent these things from abducting you?
I'm not sure. I think that would make sense, right? I mean, infrared's one. It seems like that seems to be the way. Like I said, I go old school. I'd have a dog and a pistol, and there we go. Let's see what happens. If you can get by my dog, you probably got me. But if he starts barking, oh boy, we got a problem. You and I got a problem. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, specifically, I don't know. Do you guys have any ideas out there? What are other ways you can prevent abductions? Is it possible? Is this beyond us at this point as humans? Of course, they're going to be, aliens are going to be more technologically superior, all these things, so on and so forth. So we can't really stop them, right? If they're, they would, what would they be? They'd be like gods to us, right? So if they really want to get us, I don't think. I think when you're imagine us like going out to what was the example earlier. If we're humans and we're going to get, I don't know, cows out of the field or whatever, is there anything a cow could do to stop us from taking them? You know what I mean? It's just not happening. Like no way in hell they're not getting away. Like they're just not. They're in a fence, and if they do, they're gonna tear themselves up in the barbed wire, on and on. It's just I don't think it's I think in that same scenario we're the cow, and it sucks because I'm not sure we can do much, but I'm gonna shoot if I can, for sure. Emin says I will probably call Jesus.
Oh,
okay,
sorry, go ahead.
No, Emin says I will probably call Jesus. What's up, Emin? Thanks for showing up, buddy. He says I'll call Jesus, and then and then Todd says humans always fear what they can't comprehend. That's a fact. That's true. Sorry, Frank, go ahead.
So talking about technologies, talking about different ways, going back to this article, here's the final option. The thought screen helmet. A helmet you wear to prevent foreign thoughts from invading your mind. So someone invented this. Michael Melkin has invented the thought screen helmet. And so what this thing is essentially you put this helmet on, and the aliens can't use their mind rays, their telepathic rays, to convince you to fall asleep, to put you in that sluggish, unresponsive state, right? Because that's always what we've heard. Every single case, except for one that I can recall, when the aliens come, you fall asleep. You can't react, you can't move, you can't run away from these things, right? They prevent you from interacting with the world. And so to prevent the alien abductions, you first have to combat that challenge. You have to prevent them from putting you to sleep. Does this make sense?
Well, it makes sense in theory. I'm not sure that hat looks fashionable, let's say. And let's be clear, I'm not a very fashionable guy, but I know what fashion isn't. That definitely isn't. But yeah, maybe, I don't know. You think that works, Frank?
Well, let's watch the inventor describe this device he's invented. So if you scroll down to the bottom of this article, go to around 250 and play it for a couple minutes. We'll hear what this guy has to say about the Thought Screen helmet.
Thought Screen helmet. I don't see it here. I got an ad. I got a recent video from Gizmodo. Here, let's refresh this and see if it shows up. It's on that page, on the IO9 Gizmodo.
At the very bottom.
Very bottom. Oh, there. No.
No. Alienabductionwatch.wordpress.com. The Thought Screen helmet.
Oh, there we go. Bottom. Okay. Wrong one. All right. Here we go. Oh, yeah. There we go. Conventional weapons. Like that shotgun. Okay. So this is security alarm systems. Where is this helmet? The Thought Screen helmet.
Go to around 250 at the very bottom.
Got it. All right. Here we go. We go to 250 on this. All right. We're putting this up. You guys are watching this whether you like it or not. Whether you like it or not. So this is the inventor of the Thought Scream helmet, and he can show us how to keep aliens at bay, apparently. So here we go. Turn it on and action.
Over and over again about these visits.
What the aliens are planning to do is put their own race on our planet. So their process now is to create that race that uses some human genes mixed with their genes. As fantastic as the story sounds.
Look again at the babies Ariel drew. Mencken says they're hybrids, part human, part alien.
They start taking the children when they're a very young age. They actually have these children play with their hybrid children to teach their hybrid children how to be humans.
Because mainstream science has scoffed at such ideas, Michael Mencken has decided to take on the aliens himself. His weapons, a hairdryer, leather helmets, and $200 rolls of an anti-static product called Velostat.
Right now, the Thought Screen helmet is the only thing the entire human race has to stop aliens.
The secret is in the Velostat. Mencken says it jams telepathic communication from aliens.
And people wear this, and when they wear it, the aliens cannot communicate with them, and it actually works better than I thought it would. I found that in a lot of cases, the aliens don't even come down when they wear the hat.
To date, Mencken has sent more than 50 Thought Screen helmets around the world.
I'm not making any money off this at all. I give the hats away for free. Everything is for free.
Including the one Joni wears.
I wear the hat all day. I wear a helmet at night. I've been doing this for the past 5 years.
Joni says she no longer feels afraid. She hasn't been abducted since she began wearing the hats. Ariel also wears a helmet.
Even though it messes up your hair, it's not the hair that's important. It's more like your protection from aliens.
Michael, there's a huge portion of our viewers just aren't going to believe a word of this story.
Oh, I get ridiculed a lot.
What do you say to the skeptics?
My strategy is if I keep making more hats and finding more abductees with hats, I will get more evidence, and that's exactly what's happening. Now I have some videos.
Oh shit. The guy said he has some videos now. Uh-oh. All right, so okay, what do you guys think? Is this I was actually about to ask you, Frank, do we have a link for this? Because I kind of want to buy this. I want to know how much it costs. And then he says it's free. What the hell? I'll wear it. I'll wear it. Call me paranoid, I'll wear it.
Yeah, there's a link right under the embedded video. You can pull that up. Michael Malkin's website, stopalienabductions.com.
All right, got it. We're putting this up. If you guys want to get yourself an alien helmet and test this and see if it works for yourself, there it is. There it is, and linked in the chat, and all the chats, that'll let us link. There it is. Michael Malkin's website. Michael Menken's website. I need to read that correctly. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. That's good stuff. What do you think, Frank? Would you wear that? Thinking about getting one?
Yeah, I am actually. I really am. Because, this guy seems like a crackpot, but you read into him, he's a degree. He's been a technical writer for many large organizations, including NASA. And even on his website here, he lists the tools and materials needed to make this stuff. The key ingredient is Velostat. So Velostat is let's go to the Wikipedia page, is a packaging material made of a polymeric foil integrated with carbon black nanotubes to make it electrically conductive. So essentially, it's like wearing a Faraday cage, a carbon Faraday cage on your head. And he's saying this prevents the telepathic communications. So Velostat is the material. Yeah, and you can hide it in a cap. I think that one lady in there, she didn't have a crazy looking helmet on. She just had a baseball cap, and she put some of this stuff inside it. Why not? Why not?
Yeah, this is the proverbial tinfoil hat, right? So Emin says, "What's up, Emin? Thanks for being here." He says, and this is why people don't take us seriously. You know what though? And this is the problem, right? So if there was a chance that this might help you, would you not wear it? Is that what you're saying? You're saying that this guy's a crackpot? So you know what the thing is? The guy asked him, "What do you say to the skeptics?" And what did he responded with? "Oh, I get ridiculed quite a bit." Right? But did he seem phased, perturbed? Did he seem like he was going to stop doing this? No, right? What does that tell you? Does that tell you the dude's nuts? Did he seem insane in the interview there, or describing it at all? I didn't catch any form of let's say a Sybil in him. It didn't seem like he had multiple personalities, or you know what I mean. He seemed perfectly sane. Okay, but check this out. Now this is the problem. This is the problem with all of this. If you're gonna say that guy's nuts, that guy is absolutely off his rocker, he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, you have to say that about me. You have to say that about Frank. And you have to say that about yourself because you're here listening. Right? So you end up in this cycle where we're so skeptical of these things. I don't know. I wonder, right? Like I said, I've never personally had a visitation that I know of. I don't know. I kind of want one of these things. Or at least the material to maybe, put one on and see what's up. But who knows? I don't know. I don't have psychic abilities, right? Like that I know of. So do you, Frank? Can you read people's minds?
No, but let's put it this way. Let's say you believe all this is nonsense. It's all a big hoax. No one's getting abducted. It's all just a bunch of hooey. Let's say that. So that's your stance. Well, for the people who think they're being abducted, who are clearly delusional in your mind, who are clearly delusional, they're imagining these things, buying a $50 roll of this stuff on Amazon and putting inside a baseball cap, if that gives them the placebo effect to live a better life because they think they're protected, what's wrong with that, right? What's wrong with that? Spend $50, buy some of this stuff, strap it on your head, no one's going to know, and you'll feel safer, you'll feel protected. Well, that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that at all, right? And this guy himself, he's not charging money for it. He's not making this stuff. You can go to Amazon, buy Velostat by the yard, he says. So go do it. He's not hurting anyone. There's no issues here that I see. It could just be a good placebo effect to protect yourself.
Or it might actually work. How about that? That's a possibility, right? Within the realm of possibility. We got some good chat here about Faraday cages and Tesla and some other good stuff. Thank you for that. Fred adds, there's a brand of hunting clothes that blocks your electric field. Interesting, right? So why would that be a thing? Because animals can detect these things, right? Interesting. Nice parallel. Thanks for that, Fred. Okay, another shout out. What's up, Richard on YouTube? I see you. Howdy right back at you. So, yeah, so we got alien abductions. That's the end of this one, yeah, Frank?
That's the end of this one. So again, quick recap. You can pray to Jesus or Buddha or Allah or the devil or whoever you want. Make some prayers. Maybe that'll... Number 2, buy some firearms or a samurai sword. Maybe that'll help you. Infrared security systems, or a thought screen helmet made of Velostat. So there are your options. If you're being abducted, if you want to stop this stuff, go look at Velostat on Amazon. Try it out. Maybe it helps, maybe it doesn't. So those are your 4 options to prevent alien abductions.
And there it is. Okay, so let's see. What you want to do? Let's do China's credit score real quick. Soul Rebel Junglist. What's up, buddy? Aliens. It's all about aliens. Yeah, let's do a Chinese social credit score real quick. That's it's about as Orwellian tinfoil hat as you can get if you don't trust governments. There's some pretty wacky stuff going on. We did do a video on this, and there's I don't know. I mean, we talked about it here and there. There's that Black Mirror episode. If you guys haven't seen it, check out the YouTube channel. You can find it on troubleminds.org. The video's up there. We're not going to play it. We're going to talk about it here instead, separately as a different thing. But I don't know, Frank. Did you see the apologist for this? I mean, okay, so let's start with what is China's social credit score. You want to tackle that one, Frank?
Yeah, it's a totalitarian scheme to control everything you do, control the way you think, and control the way you act by reinforcement. And you see this actually on Reddit. So if you're not aware of this, this is a really good parallel. On Reddit, there's something called karma. If you post an opinion that the group likes, you'll get upvoted. And your post will rise to the top, everyone will see it, and you'll get points for it. And the more points you get, the better you are. If you post something that people don't like, you'll get downvoted. And you'll actually lose points overall. And so people judge your account by the number of points you have. And what this leads to over time is groupthink, essentially. What these people do is they only post opinions that they know other people will agree with. And that's this social credit score in a nutshell, except instead of opinions and thoughts, it's how to act, how to treat people, how to respond to the government. They monetize what you do. So, for example, if you say, I'm really disappointed that this Chinese minister said this horrible thing, you lose points. And if you say, I'm really happy about this Chinese minister oppressing me, you gain points, right? And over time, monetizing your opinions, monetizing your actions, they control what you think. Am I missing anything there? There's other stuff, if you litter on the street or if you go to strange websites and things like this. But essentially, they're trying to control you by giving you points. And they're doing it on Reddit right now, and it works really well. All the groupthink there is horrible.
It does work. Go to Reddit. Go to Reddit and type #MAGA. See what happens. Anyway, okay. So the thing is, here's the thing with the social credit score. I got a couple articles, and so they worked fine earlier, but we've been blocked now by the Washington Post. Democracy dies in darkness, and you can F off Washington Post. I hate you. Okay. So a couple articles real quick. This is the thing that shocked me when I started looking this up and looking into this a little bit. There was a whole bunch of people that said, well, China's social credit score might not be what you think it is, right? And like starting to apologize for this crap. It's like, wait, what the hell's going on with this? Are you serious? If anybody thinks this is a good idea, please let us know. Jump on Discord, let us know. I said it in the YouTube video that we made, and I just don't get how anybody out there can ever say this is going to be a good idea. I just don't get it. So if you can convince me otherwise, I'm open to that. We're open to that. Again, this is why we talk about these things. We're open to new information that we may not have currently that you can give to us now. So perfect. It's why we do it live. It's why we have an open phone number, have an open Discord. Let us know. Type in the chat if you think it's a good idea. Okay. Some of you may have seen the Black Mirror episode called Nosedive. All right. It's in the YouTube video that we did. A clip of it anyway, and it's terrifying. You see these people like kind of tiptoeing around each other because anybody out there can downvote you. It's like the rat system, right? Anybody can turn you in for not dropping your straw in the recycle bin or what have you, or using a straw, let's say. It's just the whole thing's terrifying to me. And not that we shouldn't be better as humans collectively, but to force it, I think that's the most terrifying part. So that's really what it's all about. So these Washington Post articles I pulled up, Frank, are trash because they're just, I got a thingamajigger here that pops up and says you can't do it unless you try us for $1 for a month or something. So anything else on these other ones before I continue with the rest?
No, keep going. Again, it's funny that their tagline is "Democracy dies in darkness," yet you can't access the article unless you pay the money. Like, how hypocritical can you be? Come on now. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so, all right. Do you want to do Wang first? What's his name? Is that his name? The Daily Caller, Democratic 2020 candidate wants government-sponsored social credit system comparable to China's. Now, what's this gentleman's name? Andrew Yang. I said Wang. Sorry about that. Andrew Yang. Big difference. And you want to talk about him before or after the some of this terrifying stuff from China? What do you think? Yeah, we can talk about this now. It's real quick. So, in China, it's more totalitarian. For example, if you exercise, if you watch the news, if you buy diapers, you get points. Even if you don't have a baby, if you buy diapers, you get points because they think you have a baby, right? You're contributing to population, essentially. So there's a bunch of weird systems systems in place. Little Andrew Yang's thing, the presidential candidate, is a bit different. He kind of wants how do I say this? He wants like a positive. So there's no negatives in his system yet. There's no negatives. So he says if you participate in a town fair, if you fix a neighbor's appliance, if you tutor a student, you get points. You rack up these points, and you can use them to buy products from vendors. You can use them to get cash from the government or transfer them to people. So his system is only the positives, but it's a slippery slope. Like, think about that. Like, so if you go fix your neighbor's appliance, you get points. But then what if it breaks again? They can blame you, and then you lose those points. So this is what he wants to implement, if I'm getting this right. There's no negatives in his system yet, but there very well could be, depending on how you look.
Right. Okay. So in the thingamajigger, the video that's on YouTube, if you want to check it out, please do. And Todd's I'm not sure Todd's a China apologist. He says, name one point Mike made so far about this subject. Exactly. You can't. All right. I'm about to make some points. So let me ask you, Todd, or anybody else, when you wake up in the morning, do you want to do immediately what you would like to do? Or do you think that it's better that you should do what your neighbors think you should do because they could downvote you? And if you get enough downvotes, what happens to you? Right? Prices go up. You can't travel. Like all these things are already happening, right? You can't get into particular schools. You can't, everything becomes tougher and tougher for you to live. Okay. Until you are part of this Borg collective, this China social credit score. Okay. And so like, I get it. I get that people are like, oh, it makes everybody be better. Maybe, right? Given that the person running this is benevolent, maybe, right? Like it gets us out of bed a little earlier. Maybe we exercise a little more. But it also takes me back to that moment in 1984 by George Orwell when Winston gets out of bed and he's doing the exercises in front of the telescreen and they're watching him, right? And touch your toes, Winston. Touch your toes. Remember that one, Frank? Touch your toes. And he had he had a condition with his back and his leg, and he had a very difficult time touching his toes, except they were watching him and forcing him and making him. I don't know, right? So is that good? I don't know. All right, so going to get to a couple points here on this. Now, specifically, this one Frank pulled out. So this Reddit JPEG, you want to cover that, Frank, or want to get it?
I'm not sure.
The Chinese con artist. I got it. Okay, so this guy says it's from Reddit. I'm Japanese. Recently, Chinese con artists tried to contact us with Japanese texting app like WhatsApp, but Japanese know how to handle Chinese thugs. Just texting them back June 4th Tiananmen Square massacre in Chinese language. Then boom, that poor Chinese guy internet access is cut by the CCP. You can try this when Chinese harass you online. How about that? That's your fine, Frank.
Oh yeah, I found this. Yeah, so this is a good point here. Is you're talking about these Todd wanted a point. Well, Todd, let's say you want to research alien abduction. Just like these Chinese want to research the Tiananmen Square massacre. Well, if you do this, what happens? Your internet cuts out, you lose social credit points. Then all of a sudden, you can't take a train. You can't take a high-speed rail because you've lost those social credit points. You can't fly out of the country because you've lost social credit points. This is really happening. These are real things. So, for example, I read a story earlier. Someone in China got a parking ticket. He was in his own parking spot. He was allowed to park there, but he got a parking ticket. And so instead of just immediately paying the parking ticket, he took it to court. He wanted to fight it. He said, no, I'm not going to pay this. He lost social credit points for doing that. Right? So instead of obeying the government, even though the government was in the he could have paid the ticket and he would have been fine, but he wanted to fight the government by not paying this ticket, so he lost points. And now, you do that often enough, you can't leave the country, you can't hop on a plane, you can't travel on high-speed rail, you can't apply for government jobs, all this kind of stuff. This is a terrifying system. And think about that. If you got a parking ticket in this country, well, if it was your own parking spot, you'd go and fight it and you'd probably get it off. But here, this guy lost social credit points because he tried to do that.
And again, what happens when your social credit score becomes too low? They farm your organs, right? Yeah, we did a video on that too. Check out the YouTube channel. Okay, so real quick, here's another one. So this is a nice, right? So this is how you handle them, like this guy says. If you get the WhatsApp con artist Chinese spammers, if you just text June 4th Tiananmen Square massacre in the Chinese language, they get cut off. The Great Firewall of China. The censorship is real over there. It's unbelievable. It's an instant block. Instant block. All right, so now here's another one. This is reported by theweek.com. Okay. And check this out. A Chinese filmmaker asked people in Beijing about the Tiananmen Square massacre. Here are their disturbing answers. And there's a video here. I'm gonna link this because it's too long for us to go through all of it. But check this out. Like this is incredible, guys. This is unbelievable. So you think censorship here is bad, right? I do. I definitely do. But this is an entirely new level. It is unbelievable. So everybody knows Tiananmen Square was, okay, what was this? 1989, a Human Rights Watch thing, straight from the articles when I'm reading. It was a massacre. These people were standing up for their rights and they were run over with tanks, right? They were murdered, just straight out government murdered because they wanted to stand up for human rights, for their own personal freedom, for individual liberty, for these things that we talk about here and there on this show, because these things are important. Groupthink is terrifying. It's just terrifying. And I caught you, Todd. You weren't talking to me. You're talking to somebody else. But like how do we? Okay. Anyway, let's play some of this video. I'm linking this so everybody can see it. Did you get a chance to read this one, Frank? Putting some stuff up here real quick. Okay.
Yeah, I was clicking through this video because I didn't see it, but essentially they're going up to asking them, what day is it? And they say June 4th. And then this interviewer says, well, you know what happened on June 4th. And then these people, they're like, no, I'm not talking about that. And they walk away. They were scared to talk about history. Imagine that. Imagine being scared to talk about the Civil War or being scared to talk about 9/11 because you know that the government is watching you. The government is coming for you. If you talk about this stuff in public, they're going to arrest you. That's horrifying.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's one of those taboo subjects, and it's not just a taboo subject like, I like feet, right, or whatever, right? Like it's nothing like that. This is government enacted, and if you say these things, what happens to you? If you talk about this as, yeah, that was a terrible thing, right? Even in quiet whispers in dark corners of the world, right? What if somebody rats you out? What if somebody rats you out? It's terrifying. Like, man, the world, and you know what? We're headed there. That's the worst part. We're headed there. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to read this real quick. One Chinese filmmaker, though, wants to remind China and the rest of the world about this 1989 event. It was a massacre. In his 2005 documentary, A Day to Remember, filmmaker Liu Wei asks students and tourists at Tiananmen Square if they know what day it is. Liu filmed the interviews on June 4th, 2005, the massacre's 16th anniversary. Here we go. Most of the responses to Liu's questions, though, are along the lines of, I don't want to talk about it. I don't know. And even turn the camera off. Liu's video suggests that more than a decade after the event, Chinese residents are still terrified to discuss it. This is so this video, the video's 13 minutes long or so, and I think there's more to this elsewhere, but check it out. I've linked it, and anybody who thinks that globalism and China taking over the world with these types of things to control people is a good thing needs to wake up a little bit. And I know this is political, but I think don't you think, Frank, that human rights transcend politics?
Yeah, definitely they should, but they don't. Not in this day and age. Like, I think people don't look at history. They don't look at the world. Like, there's slavery going on right now in Nigeria, right? There's literal slavery going on. There's this organ harvesting and crap going on all over the world, but people don't do anything about it. They're so focused on what's going on here. Is Orange Man bad? Is the other person good? You know, it's kind of ridiculous. We really have to focus on human rights as a worldwide issue. I don't know, though. But then I kind of go back and forth because it's their country. They should be able to do what they want, you know? I wouldn't want China dictating what goes on here. Should we be able to dictate what goes on there? I don't know about that.
Well, if they're butchering people, I don't know. I mean, I think that's the question, right? I think, and this is the problem, right? So if you get political about it, you have a sovereign country that's butchering their own people, right? And you can say that about dozens of countries in the world. So, yeah. what should the world do about that? It's disgusting. It's terrible, and it's happening. So anyway, not to get too deep on this, because again, geo-global politics is a snoozer for sure. But this is Orwellian. This is China's social credit score. So again, we can talk about this more in the future. I'm sure we will as information comes out. But there are a lot of apologists. Did you see any of the apologists, Frank, on this? On people saying that it's not as bad, or like the Democratic candidate Wang, that's his name, Wang. Did I say Yang? What's his name?
Yeah. Yang.
Yeah, Andrew Yang. Yeah, I did it again. So this guy says,
so
go ahead.
It's ridiculous. Pardon me for talking over you. It's ridiculous to say it's not bad. So let me read out some of the punishments, and this will put it in perspective. If you lose credit score, this is what happens. You are banned from flying or getting on. Your internet speeds get throttled. They ban you or your kids from getting into the best schools. They stop you from getting the best jobs. They keep you out of the best hotels. You can get your dog and cat and animals taken away, and you can be publicly named as a bad citizen. So these are some of the punishments where there's actual real cases where these have happened to people. But imagine that. You're a history student in China, you look up the Tiananmen Square massacre, you type that into your internet there, your internet gets cut out, and you'll lose a couple of points. And then you're like, okay, you're in a bad mood, so you get a parking ticket, and you don't want to pay it. Now you've lost more points. All of a sudden, you're banned from the school you're going to. You can't take that trip to another country because you can't get on a hotel and you can't hop on a plane. And you lose your job. So these are things that are actually happening to people out there. This is a terrifying system. Now, again, Andrew Yang's proposal is positive. There's no punishments in that system. It's only good things. So if you fix your neighbor's faucet, you get some points. You can use those points for something good. But once that system is in place, how long will it take until they start introducing these negative punishments into it? I don't think it'll take too long at all. So even putting that system in place in the first place, it's a slippery slope. Let's put it that way.
It is, and it's getting worse. And so they're harvesting organs and all these other things. So the final question of this is and becomes, what happens when your score drops too low? Right? In a totalitarian society, what happens when they deem you unfit for their society? I mean, the answer is easy, right? Like given that they're butchering people now, of course, right? You end up sending you to the glue factory, right? They put you on the bad organ donation list, the bad side. Organs available now. It's absurd. It's crazy. And okay, we're long, so we got to wind this up. But holy shit, this is incredible, guys. This is one of those things. I'm telling you, we'll keep an eye on it. But it's mind-boggling to me how people try and defend this somehow. Because even this the candidate Andrew Yang, he's actually running for president right now in the United States. Right? He's actually running for president, and he's on Joe Rogan, and I watched it, and he's got some compelling points. But holy shit, right? Like, who trusts the government enough to say, yeah, we should implement this because, positive things should happen, right? Like, you should be able to get first-class seats because you're such a good citizen, right? At discounted rates and shit like that. No, come on now. Everybody knows it'll be punitive eventually. Eventually. It's like the income tax, right? Like, when they first implemented the income tax, it was like a 1% thing. They're like, we're only going to do it temporarily. Where are we at now? Where are we at now? And this is exactly the point. We cannot allow this to happen anyway. Good stuff. Thanks for sticking with us. We're going to wind this down.
That's a good point that I want to reemphasize is income tax was supposed to be temporary. It really was. And they never let it go. They kept it forever. And so like carbon score tax and climate change tax and, school tax, it'll never go away. It'll just keep getting worse and worse and worse and worse. So stuff like this credit score, once that's in place, it's never going away. It'll be there forever. When's the last time the government got rid of a program? No, they just keep adding more and more to it. So this is something to be worried about. I'm kind of scared. Yeah, that guy, I did watch that interview. He had some good points. But this, no, this is terrifying.
Yeah, this is not good. Thomas adds, and I think this is relevant to the situation, a good way to wind this down. What's up, Thomas? He says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. And I'll just stop right there. If you guys know what we're talking about. Hashtag 2A. Yeah, there's a reason for it. It's not just being able to defend yourself. It's being able to defend yourself against a tyrannical government. Ourselves collectively. Anyway, so there we go. As you can tell, we are not murderous bastards, but we're talking about murderous bastard things anyway, because that's what we do. That's what we do here on Troubled Minds Radio. I'm going to cue the outro. You can start, Frank.
Yeah, imagine this show, and we bring up an interesting topic. We talk about alien abductions, and you like the story we brought up, so you share it to your friends, and all of a sudden, you lose points. You lose points in the social credit score. And then you start talking about time travel and witches and Bigfoot, and you're losing more points. And then you're kicked out of your house. You lose your job. What are you going to do? Are you going to keep talking about that stuff? No, of course not. You're going to shut your mouth. And that's the point of this whole thing, is to shut your mouth. And, well, we're taking this risk for you. We're on the air. We're probably on lists already. We're talking about this crazy stuff. And we hope you join in, because we don't want to be punished alone.
There you go. Yeah. What they say in the American Revolution. If we what was it? Help me here. It goes something like, if we don't hang together, then we will surely hang separately. There you go. That goes to who was that put the hashtag 2A up there? Thomas. There you go. That's one right back at you. Okay, so we got to stick together, guys. If we don't stick together, this stuff will overwhelm us. And again, if we do not hang together, we will surely hang separately. And that's a famous quote from the American Revolution. And they talked about autonomy, property rights, individual freedom. And there we are. Funny, right? 230 some years later, we're talking about these things, and they're somehow revolutionary. Again. Again. Does that tell you where the world's going? Well, anyway, so hey, thanks for sticking with us. You're listening to Troubled Minds Radio. If you haven't joined the Discord, please do. There's a lot of people in here asking for help in chat with alien experiences or other things. Me personally, I don't think Frank personally, we can't help you directly, but there are other people that are in the chat, that are on Discord, that come here and listen regularly, that might be able to help. So if you haven't joined the Discord, please do, and there's good information shared there. The conversation continues 24/7. Come join us. TroubledMinds.org. Click Discord on the top right, and you're in. Yeah. Otherwise, here we go. We're winding this down. This is done. We're done for tonight. So, I'm your host, Michael Strange. I'm here with your co-host, the magnificent Frank Pierce. Thank you for listening. Appreciate it. Thanks again to Todd. Shout out Radioactive Beats on SoundCloud for the outro music. Shout out to Sorceress Records, also SoundCloud, for the intro music. Thanks, guys, for hooking us up. Show Sunday night. We'll see you then. Thanks for listening. From all Troubled Minds to yours. Have a great night.